Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Five. I completely forgot to put on the intro video. I hope everyone is happy and healthy, doing the things they love with those they love to do them with. It is Monday. It is Monday. It's March the 16th, and we have your regular Monday four ball. Stelios, Johnny H, and Lubo. Hope everyone is able to smash the like button like your life depended on it. You know what to do. Smash it straight out of the park. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Notification button should be squeezed. Comments should be dropped thick and fast. Keep them respectful. Keep everybody on the toes. We are, of course, available on all your podcast platforms. So please, if you are people that like to watch us back via those sorts of platforms, then please give us a look on Spotify. If you want to hear us back, you can watch us back, listen to us back on Apple Pods and Amazon, all that jazz. You can do that by going to your favorite podcast place and searching for Spurs 5. Give us a rating, a follow, and a review. We appreciate you. We are also, of course, sponsored by OK Jersey. You know what to do, guys. It's this time of year. You're probably not going to want to get this season's shirt, this season stuff, because it's at that point of the year where you don't want to do it. But maybe you want to get yourself some old school stuff, retro stuff, Jeremy Jacques. All that stuff is available. They are expanding their collection every single week, so keep a lookout. And we've got some new stuff coming. If you do have any suggested items from yesteryear, then let us know. And if there's enough of you that want it, then we'll put it on the to-do list, to-build list, to-make list. You can get 8% off at checkout using code 5. So search for OK Jersey and go and get something tasty. Guys, how you doing? Johnny, how are you, my mate? Good to see you.
All good. Those that have suggested we get Helga and Bonnie Blue T-shirts, I'm sorry, that is not on the agenda for OK Jersey, just to let you know. We're looking for football shirt ideas. The comedy stuff, you can send us with pleasure if you want to get those ones made up. Sean's ready for a Helga T-shirt or a Bonnie Blue.
A T-shirt from Helga, mate. Let me tell you that.
Listen, I've got to say the mood has definitely been lifted after the despair of Madrid. Some people have said to me, what's wrong with you? How can you celebrate a draw? Well, I can, because it's a point. Different times means different celebrations, you know, and any draw or any point got at Liverpool, I will celebrate because it's, I think it's only happened twice in God knows how many years. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy and looking forward to Wednesday, Sean.
Yeah, as am I, mate. As am I. Well, I haven't got my ticket yet, but it's my birthday on Wednesday, so I'm thinking about getting up there.
I've got a couple, mate.
Yeah, well, I'm just not convinced. I'm not convinced if I want to do it. I think I'm going to do it, but we'll talk about it afterwards. Good to see you, though, Johnny. Good to see you, Lubington. How are you, mate?
All good today. Buzzing after that 89th minute goal yesterday.
Yeah,
we needed that desperately. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, panel, and everybody viewing, listening. And by the way, we need another 30. We're 32 adrift of 27,000 subscribers. So let's press the subscribe button if you have not already.
Yeah, I put the subscriber mode only on. So if you are watching and you are not able to comment, it's just because you haven't hit the subscribe button. So just hit the subscribe button and it should open up instantaneously, just like Bonnie Blue's legs.
And it's free. It's free.
It's free. It's free indeed. How are you, Stel?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. Like, subscribe, notification bell. You know the drill. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed to my new channel. It's almost, I think I'm about 20 away from 1,000 within 5 days, which is fantastic. So thank you, everyone. Delegation squad, big up the masses.
Listen, let's start talking about last night. I mean, there's lots of ways to go with it. Obviously, tonight we'll be talking mainly about that in different departments, but just want to get everyone's thoughts on the game itself, generally speaking. We'll start with the starting lineup. It was as follows. Vicario was in goal. We weren't really sure what the lineup was suggesting. Was it going to be Pedro Porro playing as a right back or a right-sided centre-back? Where was Jed Spence going to squeeze in? Where was Sousa going to squeeze in? It all looked a little bit odd, but in the end, it looked like we were playing a back four with Jed Spence playing left side, Radu Dragusin and Kevin Danso and Pedro Porro at the back. We saw Sousa playing on the right of a midfield. Interesting. The midfield two of Pape Sarr and, of course, Archie Gray. And then a left side of Matisse Tell and the front two of Richarlison and Dominic Solanke. Luba, I'll start with you, mate. What did you think of the 11? What did you think of the starting lineup? Was it risky? Was it interesting? Were you happy?
No, not happy. I thought Simmons should have been playing, to be honest. And I thought he got Sousa, Porro and Spence the wrong way round. He should have played Spence right back, Sousa left back in their positions, and pushed Porro in front of Spence. For me, that was, looking at the 11 players that he picked, those three selections looked to me to be fairly obvious. But obviously, Tudor does things differently, which is why I'm still really concerned that he's still in the job. I don't think I think his team selections for the 5 games have been quite poor. I mean, Kinski in last Tuesday was just a disaster. I thought it was, to put Sarr and Gray in there instead of Paolini and Gallagher last week. And he should have been playing, for me, I'd have played Solanke instead of Moani, with Simmons instead of Tell last week in Spain. So for me, I'm not happy about him, to be honest with you. I'd rather be getting Redknapp in with Defoe. I think it'd be much better. But for me, listen, great points, brilliant results. At the end of the day, it was a strange game because they had more of the play, they had more chances. Thankfully their shooting was way off.
Sorry, who had more of the chances?
They had 17 shots to our 13, but their
how many of them were on target? 4. Right.
So another day they'd obviously be a lot more accurate. But thankfully, yesterday was the day when they decided to put it high and wide all over the place, and we took advantage. And if you don't take your chances and kill a game off, then you're always liable to be pegged back, and that's what happened. And we deservedly got the equaliser. So for me, delighted. We needed to stop the losing run. For me, that was the first part. If you're going to avoid relegation, you're on the back of 6 straight defeats. You've got to stop that losing run. We've done that, and now hopefully we can move on. In terms of Premier League, it's a cup final on Sunday, isn't it? And that is, if we can win that, we'll go into the international break a lot more relaxed, 4 points clear of Forest, and maybe the same clear of West Ham, who I think are going to Villa Park on Saturday. So no, buzz. I was absolutely buzzing, screamed when that ball hit the nets. Just really happy. There was effort, there was commitments on a level that we haven't seen for some time. So no, really happy, buzzing today. Only a draw, and it's only a start. So I'm not getting carried away, but it was something we needed desperately. So very pleased.
Johnny, do you share Lubo's sentiments that Liverpool had better chances, or were like on a different day they could have put them away? I mean, we had better chance. I in my opinion, I think we had better chances. No, I think on another day we put them away. We could have won that game. I think we edged the game, if I'm entirely honest. What's your take, Johnny?
No, I don't know. I maybe we were watching different games. I don't know. But we had 13 shots, but we had 7 on target. They had 17 shots, and they had 4 on target. So we had over 50% of our shots on target. And I think with a little bit more clinical finishing, we could have easily won the game as ourselves. There was one strange substitution that I didn't quite get. That was in the last minute of the game, the 95th minute. We've got a corner and he takes Richarlison off. Seemed a bit of a bizarre thing to do, considering he was the one that was winning all the headers, not Solanke. But hey, that's being pernickety. Look, I looked at that starting lineup and I thought to myself, you know what, got to give him credit, because I think that's only the 5th time he's ever played 4 at the back in his managerial career. But I didn't understand the reason for playing Sousa at right midfield. but he did all right. I mean, you know, everyone's saying that the kid's like rubbish, shouldn't be anywhere near the team. Meanwhile, he was unlucky with when he was running in on goal after Richie had beaten the man down on the left-hand side and got the ball to Solanke, who crossed it. It was unlucky. And then the rasping shot, which I thought was a really, really good effort. He had not a bad cameo. I didn't have any problem with him being in the team, to be quite honest with you. Can only do as good if we pick up more injuries. We don't really have natural left-sided players. If Mickey's out, that's our sort of go-to. I think dripping him in here and there for 20 minutes, 40 minutes isn't a bad thing. Neither was dragging him off. But listen, all said and done, I've lost count how many times I've gone to Anfield and seen an absolute shocking performance with a top team, our best team probably, and we've come away with nothing. I don't think it's been like 15, 16 years since we won 2-0, 2011. And I think out of the last 31 games, we've won one. So, to go there and get a draw, guys, is a bonus, right? No one saw it coming. Everyone was written it off. Everyone on this panel wrote off to have a huge defeat. We go there and we get a draw. What you asked for is what you got, a battling, fighting performance and a result that no one expected. Yet for some reason, people want to come on or go into social media and absolutely rip the backside out of it. And I know one swallow don't make a summer, but we're asking for a spark to ignite the season. And for me, that could be the catalyst, right? And I think Wednesday's game is just as important as the Forest game. Not as far as leagues goes. Obviously, that's a bigger game. But in the sense that, we need momentum. And even if we beat Atletico Madrid 1-0, it's a win. And that's two results on the back-to-back. And that's what we need. We need to build the momentum like West Ham had when they got that goal, when Callum Wilson got that late goal. That was their catalyst to start improving and go on a run. And we need it. Hopefully this is the moment. I thought Richie was outstanding and deserved the goal. I thought Archie Gray did very well. And so did Kevin Danso. And Vicario, if I could call him a taxi right now, I would be calling it. How we've got two goalkeepers at this level is quite beyond me. There's plenty of goalkeepers in the Premier League that most Spurs fans would have turned their noses up right now at the beginning of the season who are better than this. And to all those people that laughed, when we said, who needs David Raya when you've got Vicario? I mean, that's just looking like a laughable statement now. But no, very happy. And one last thing, had that Virgil van Dijk challenge been Cuti Romero on Ekitike, that would have been a red card and a penalty all day long. I saw Hackett give the upshot on that, and he said it's a penalty. It's a red card all day long. I don't know what more. It's a funny thing. It's a contradiction. We always complain that Richie is always going down, and the one time he doesn't go down, he should have gone down for the penalty. But that's about it.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. I tend to lean your way on the reasons to be cheerful. But I'll come to my take after Stell's had his. Stell, listen, I know I gave you a bit of a not a hard time, but a little a little mention on my stream earlier. But listen, in all fairness to you, you've set your cards out entirely clear about what you want for the football club, and obviously in your mind, there's bigger like the I guess short-term pain, long-term gain is your narrative. What did you make of the overall of the game? Were you impressed? Were you? I take it you weren't particularly happy that we got a point because it's not what you want to see right now. But what's your overall thoughts on the 90 minutes specifically, buddy?
First of all, I didn't know you spoke about me on your stream, but that explains why the chat came at me quite ferociously at the start of the show. You probably wound them up. which is a shame because I've had to block two. Well, I've had to block two because they crossed the line. So
I didn't say anything. I just said I heard your I saw your, someone sent me a clip of you when we scored. When we scored a goal, I saw a video of you saying, "Oh no, Spurs have scored," and I was just like, "Ah." But then I said on the stream, fair play to Stell. You know, he's where he's at.
I said, "Oh no, Spurs have scored."
Yeah. I think you will look, because I think you had a delay on your stream or something, and then you saw something in the, you're like, "Oh, don't say Spurs have scored," and then you were saying, "Oh, now we're gonna lose 2-1, put some money on it," or something like that, something to that.
Not as bad as the time you got caught smiling at Burnley. Was it Burnley?
Yeah. So,
but I wasn't calling you out. I wasn't calling you out. Don't take it that way. I'm just saying I mentioned it on the stream. That's all.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, it explains why people in the chat were being nasty from the off. They've been wound up somewhere. That's not actually what happened. So someone's cleverly clipped what happened. What happened was, I said, this game's all set up for Richarlison to score late on, and then to Liverpool to score the win like they did the season when Richie scored, jumped into the terraces, and then went up the other end. I said, you just know it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then when Richie scored, I said, "Oh no, we've scored," meaning what I predicted is coming true. So they've clipped that bit cleverly. But if you go back a minute or two, you'll see, actually, hold on, that's not quite what was said. So,
to be fair, though, I asked you, I spoke to you in the WhatsApp group last night.
I'm just explaining that video clip that you described. I'm applying the context to it, because that's all been taken out of it.
But listen, by the way, just to be entirely clear, it wasn't. No one sent it or said it, and it wasn't spoken about in a terrible way, because I spoke to you about it in the WhatsApp group. I said, "Are you happy that we won?" And you said, "No, Sean, I want relegation." So that's the point, right? That you see a bigger picture that you think is more important. So it wasn't in any way like that. Like maybe I've explained that slightly inaccurately, but it wasn't a gotcha or anything like that at all.
Listen, everyone and anyone is going to come for me any chance they get. Not talking about you, Sean. Anyone and everyone is going to come at me for any chance they get, especially in the chat, because every chat, whatever channel I go on, including mine, are mainly cowards. They hide behind a Wi-Fi name. It's not their real name. They've got no face. They can say whatever they want and get away with murder, right? That's the beauty of being someone that doesn't have confidence, that sits behind a keyboard, and someone who's got cojones and puts their face, their name, their identity on a weekly show. What we do here takes bollocks. Most people don't have bollocks, and that's the reality of it. Otherwise, they'd all go and start their own YouTube channels rather than telling us how we're all wrong or how we're all right. For me, I've set up my stall and I've stuck with it, and I'm not bending on it. I want us to go down because I don't believe ENIC are going to change if we stay up. I don't believe they're ever going to change unless either the fans go after them. And I've said this fan base, we're not going to go after them. And I'm sure we'll get onto the protests that have all been cancelled now in exchange for a celebration on the high street.
We'll talk about that.
Proves my point. Right, which proves my point.
That's a separate segment.
We'll come to it, but I'm just solidifying my position. That proves the point I've been trying to say. The fans aren't going to do it. The fans aren't going to force change. So the only way I see it changing from ENIC's position is either they sell, which there's no signs of them doing, or relegation forces them into change. That's my position. Everyone knows it. I've made it very clear. Regarding the game, I thought it's one of the worst games of football I've seen this season. I was falling asleep at one point. I couldn't believe how crap it was. I thought Liverpool and Tottenham were shite. The possession, the passing was awful to watch. I thought Spurs were good at defending balls into the box. I thought in the air, we did extremely well. And I don't know if any of you noticed, when we did try and clear the ball, normally there's always a weak clearance or a poor clearance that falls to our general, if in doubt, kick it out play was really good. We got rid of the danger. Once or twice there was a little nervy moment, but that's normal. But overall, I thought we defended balls into the box and set pieces extremely, extremely well. That was the one positive I took from the Spurs performance. I thought in the final third, we were all right. I thought midfield, we were crap. Down the wings, I thought we were average. I wasn't wowed by Tottenham, but we deserved the point because Liverpool were absolutely dog shit of the highest level. So were we, but they did not deserve to beat us the way they played. And that is rare because I don't remember ever going to Anfield and a Liverpool team playing that bad. I've never seen that. But we did what we had to do. We deserved the goal. You could say we maybe deserved a second, but I think they could have argued, but they might have deserved a second as well. I thought 1-1 was a fair result. And for those of you that want to stay up and, you're on board, Tottenham staying in the Premier League, then that is a very, very big point, because that's a very tough game out of the way that we've got a point from. I believe Forest have to play Liverpool still. They might not get a point. I know they've already played them.
They're done.
I think West Ham, is it? West Ham or Leeds, one of those two have to still play Liverpool.
Forest beat Liverpool. Forest beat Liverpool.
It's West Ham or Leeds.
Forest have got a shocking run in though. Forest running is still absolutely appalling, to be fair to them.
One of the rivals for relegation has still got to play Liverpool. So at least we've got that game out of the way. What I will say though, this talk about Vicario, I don't understand why Brandon Austin has been made the third choice goalkeeper. When he came in under Postecoglou, he played well. He actually got man of the match away at Hoffenheim, I remember. And after him actually playing quite well for a couple of games, we signed Kinski, dropped Austin straight away and brought in Kinski. And I thought that was such a disrespect to Austin, who was doing well. So if people have got concerns about Vicario, and by the way, I think Vicario should have done better for that. He is to blame. It was a very weak wrist. The ball was down the middle. It wasn't even in the corners. I don't understand why.
How about his footwork? How about his footwork and his handwork? I mean, it's just, and giving him off.
Johnny, we know he's no good. But the point is, if Kinski's going to be just as calamitous, what's Brandon Austin done wrong to not be given a chance at this football club? He's one of our own. We've developed him. He's got Tottenham in his blood, and he's a good goalkeeper. He was brilliant for England under 21s. So I think Austin should be looked at. I agree with Lubo. Playing the left back at the right back, the second choice right back at left back, the first choice right back at centre back. It's just what we're doing. We're not going to get away with that again. We can't keep doing that. We won't get away with it. But overall, the three best players I thought on the pitch for us were Richie, Danzo, and maybe Spence. I thought they were the three standout players for me.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Those three, definitely.
Yeah, Spence certainly won all of his ground duels. I don't think he did much going forward, but I think he did. He certainly held his own defensively. And you know what? This is my takeaway for that, right? Like, I think if you're looking for reasons to be, to look for the things that most people wanted to see from the game, right? Everyone, in my opinion, we all know everyone wrote the game. I don't remember anyone or very few people that had anything other than a significant score deficit on the cards. We all went for 5-1, 6-1, 6-2s, whatever. It was a competition to see who could get the weirdest scoreline in our predictions. And we went there and did a job, right? But none of us were expecting that. And I think I agree with Stelwyn as much as that it could have gone either way. That, like, if Liverpool get that second goal, if Vicario doesn't get down to the fingertip from Gakpo, for example, it's 2-0, it's game over in all likelihood. We fought back. We had our own chances, and our own chances were just as gilt-edged, in my opinion. I thought we had a really good chance from Matisse Tell's hard work. That led to the cross that Richarlison put just wide. Even though we got 7 shots on target, arguably our best chance, other than the goal that we scored, actually came from a shot that was off target. It was a header from Richarlison that maybe if he gets his head to it a little bit better, we're back in the game. Obviously, then the corner kick that Matisse Tell again also worked hard to win. He then puts the corner kick in, and then Richarlison gets that noggin, gets his head on it, and a great save from Alisson. It could have got, the game was in flux, but most people, I think, we're looking for not necessarily a scoreline or an outcome, but just input factors. We were looking to see whether or not Igor Tudor had the right words in the right order, whether the calling them all victims and saying it's a nonsense way to go about life, fix up and man up and do your job rather than mental health, check, welfare checks, all that stuff. Well, I think we saw it. I think we absolutely saw fight. We absolutely saw togetherness. We absolutely saw team spirit. All of the things that I think are more important than the point in and of itself, because a point might be a point that separates us by the end of the season, but really you're not going to go to Liverpool and get 3 points very, very often at all. But if you can put together a performance where you see that the team is working for each other, which is something that you've seen from West Ham, seen from Leeds, and to not as much of an extent, but a little bit more than what we've seen from Tottenham recently, Nottingham Forest, you need to see something to hang your hat on. And I think I saw it. And even the players that I think haven't really shown much of that recently, I think if you look to areas of the game, if you're looking for statistics that can represent that fight that you're looking for, that they care, that they actually are trying to manifest into something that is going to get us through this mess. I think ground duels are the way to do that, because if you don't give a shit, you don't win any ground duels. You just don't, right? If you're not willing to go in and fight with an individual one-on-one battle, you are not going to be able to get those outcomes. And Pape Sarr won 80%, 85%. He won 5 out of his 6 ground duels against Alexis McAllister. Right? Jed Spence won every single ground duel. Right? And I would put Jed Spence in the category of people that I have question marks around his character, around his desire. But he didn't show any of those problems yesterday. So I'm really impressed by him, and I'll give him a pat on the back for it.
Were you surprised he got taken off? Because I was. At the crucial stage of the game, I was, when I was looking at players,
you've got a lot of football to play, right? We've got a big game, not a big game, maybe it is a big game on Wednesday.
That was a big game. Yeah.
We only got two first team players out there, which again, I think some of the people that have sort of, I don't know, chosen to lean into the just to continue the narrative of like everything shit at Tottenham, woe is us, and it wasn't impressive, and it meant nothing, and it's all this and that. I think that there's a massive oversight here because of the contextual, I don't know, the situation we were in, the environment we were in. 7 subs out of a possible 9, 2 of them goalkeepers, 3 of them kids, 2 first team options, a player played out of position to try to throw some balance, which I'm going to ask you guys about that specifically in a second. For me, I don't know, there were so many positives. There were so many positives to take from the game, and far more positives than there were negatives, contextually and relative to what we've been seeing recently. And like I say, I don't think that given the fact that it's like Tottenham fans have had absolutely nothing to get excited about for months. The last time we had something to get excited about was the Crystal Palace game, and even that was December the 28th, and even that, or 30th or whatever, and even that was an absolute shit show in actual effort and performance, but we managed to sneak it past the poor team. You have to go way back to November or October when we actually had a bit of form. So for me, like, it's the first performance that I've seen in months and months and months. And in the moment, I think it's possible to be happy. I think in the moment, we should be sitting here saying and talking more about the positives, talking more about what this can manifest into. Because I woke up this morning and for the first time, I cared about Tottenham for a while. I haven't really been watching that much Tottenham content. I haven't been watching too much of the streams that I used to watch or digging into news now and transfer. I haven't looked into that because I've just been like, oh, this is all fucking this is exhausting and depressing and boring. This morning I woke up and I cared and I feel re-engaged to the point where I might go and buy the ticket for the Wednesday night game in the Champions League. To me, the takeaway is that we are like, there's something to be positive about right now. And I think the fan base needs to kind of get behind that and try to get some sort of, get some energy started before the big thing that's happening on Sunday. Before that thing, everyone's turning up with their flares on Sunday. That's important. But these sorts of times right now, I think the energy in the online space needs to like pick itself up because we have massive. If you are someone that wants Tottenham to stay up, not everyone does clearly, but if you do want someone to stay up, then I think it's important that we try to utilize this and build something more than we have done. I was a little bit surprised and disappointed by some of the reactions that I've seen around the fan base over the last 24 hours.
Because Spurs fans are educated enough now, you'd like to think from experience, not to get excited off of one game, knowing that the amount of times this happens and then what follows is pure calamity. I think what's happening, just my gut feeling, a lot of Spurs fans, they're just keeping their feet on the ground. Let's wait and see, because if we beat Forest, I think you're going to get the reaction you've asked for. If we don't, that's why people are holding back, because they know what this team does. We saw it at the start of the season with Burnley and City. We got super hyped. Frank's the man. And then look, against Dortmund, we put in an amazing performance against Dortmund. Where did that come from? And then we went on this 4-game losing streak, drawing streak in the league. I think just fans, that I actually for once think Spurs fans are being a bit level-headed here. They're looking at that Liverpool game and saying, wow, we didn't expect that. Is the fight back on? Or is it just one of those purple patch moments that we get carried away with? The Forest game, I think we will learn more about the Liverpool game than we did from the actual Liverpool game. That Forest game, I think we'll learn more. Was that a fluke? Or was that the beginning of Spurs turning it around? I think the Forest game, we're going to learn so much from. I really do.
I think we'll learn a lot on Wednesday still. I think you'll see,
Agreed.
I don't know. Really?
Well,
The 3 goals down. Is it over?
It's about momentum. It's about momentum. It's about getting something going, right, Luke?
Absolutely. It's about the effort, commitments.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
Are they playing? Are they responding to him? I think that's the key for me.
It's different going into a game where you're both starting 0-0 and going into a game where you're 3 goals down. I think the mindset's different. I get what you're saying, momentum, but I also think most of our squad deep down think, you know what, we're out of the tie. I think they're in that headspace of, like, when Liverpool scored, for example, we still managed to match them. There was still belief maybe we can get the equaliser. You saw it. If Atletico Madrid score first, there is going to be zero belief that we're going to get back in the game. And that's what I mean about, I think this is different. But look, maybe you're right. Maybe you two are right. Maybe it is about momentum. You know.
But what happens if we look? All I'm saying is, if we win, if we come out of it somehow, look. I don't think Atletico Madrid are particularly good, right? I thought that result flattered them at the end of the day. But my point is, if we somehow come out with even a 1-0 win, or we come out with some credit out of that game, that would be 2 games in the trot, and at least we are going into that Forest game with positivity, the fans feeling a little bit more positive, the players being uplifted a little bit, maybe some of those that had already written off the season, we all know who they are, might buck up their ideas and start fighting again. So I think it can only be a good thing, personally. I think a heavy, bad loss against Atletico Madrid will set the fans off again, which set the press off again. And as I said before, the vultures are circling over our rotting corpse, and the Sky News and the Talk Sport, they're all circling and pecking at us right now.
Isn't that why though, Johnny? Isn't that why the fan base, like, if we're giving the credit, like I see someone in the chat there saying it was the fans at the stadium yesterday that got us over the line, right? And I thought the fans yesterday were fantastic at the game.
Yeah, but they always are, mate. They always are.
I know. Hang on, but look, if the fans were fantastic at the stadium, right, and we're trying to copy and emulate this Everton thing for the Nottingham Forest game to create some sort of atmosphere, right, and the players and the manager always say we need the fans behind us, 12th man stuff, then does that extend into, like, you're right, Johnny, right? All of the media want us to go down. Every other rival team everyone wants us to go down. It'll be the biggest story in the last 20 years in football, right? It'll be the biggest story ever. So if the fans can play their part, then isn't there some, I don't know whether the social zeitgeist extends in that department, but, like, shouldn't we be doing what we can between now and then by having positivity, even if it's false positivity, even if it's a false storm? Mate. Just for now, shouldn't we be trying all we can?
We've had false, we've had drama, we've had despair, we've had it. That's all we've had. That's all we've had. If you strip out the Europa League final, it's been defeat after defeat after defeat after defeat. It's depressing. And if we can take a morsel of happiness, right, and multiply it, drop it in a bit of water and expand it. And that's what I'm saying, you know, let's try and get a result out of Madrid. I'm not saying we're going to go through. I'm not delusional, but, you know, let's have something positive and go into the Forest game. We play Wednesday. We're playing at home. They play Forest. They got to go to Mitterrand in a tough game where they're 1-0 down. And, you know, we should have the advantage. We should have the advantage, even though they beat us 3-0. If the fan base is behind them and we get behind them, even if we concede the first goal, that crowd, the crowd can make the difference. It really can.
I think what was also massive about yesterday was if now we're going into the Forest game off the back of a draw at Anfield, and a deserved draw, rather than going in after 7 straight defeats. It's a massive difference in mindset, enormous. And you know, Johnny, the reason the media are coming after us, this is the first relegation battle we've been in for 28 years since Klinsmann came for the second half of the 97-98 season to help bail us out. So, you know, that's
Sorry, did I say that again? This is the first relegation battle since when?
98. 97.
Oh, so Ange didn't nearly relegate us then last year. Okay.
No, we always have.
Well, he would have done, mate. It's the record amount of the most amount of defeats. Come on.
I'm just saying. That's what you know.
Don't bring up Ange again, mate.
Still, the three wins.
Listen, the only thing.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Retract the comment. Retract the comment.
The only thing that Ange has done us a favour with, and we should praise him wholeheartedly, is that he went to. You can do the fishing. He went to Forest and he got 8 defeats, and we should thank him.
I'm simply questioning Lubo, who has said,
"Oh right, Lubo, okay.
You wanted Ange, you wanted to stop it, you wanted to keep him. He nearly relegated us." And Lubo's now said, "The last time we nearly got relegated was a very long time ago, not under Ange." I'm just saying, it's two different messages.
I think
I'm just clarifying, Lubo. I just want to clarify.
Right. Still, can I just further clarify that when Ange won the 3 games in February, I think that left us 12 games.
Check the chat. Sorry, Lubo.
That left us 12 games, and I think of those 12 games, I think we ended up with 5 points, which is the same as we finished up in the last 12 games. We've got 5 points.
Yeah, but you said Ange nearly relegated us. Now you're saying he didn't.
No, what I said was hang on.
Did Ange nearly relegate us or not?
Had the level of the 3 teams' results last season been the same as this season, we would have been relegated.
Did Ange nearly relegate us
last season? We would have been relegated last season. We were just lucky.
Did Ange nearly relegate us? Yes or no?
Did Ange nearly relegate us?
Yes.
No, Ange took us as low as we could go.
Check the private chat quickly. Sorry, I'm just trying to organise something in the background whilst you. Sorry to.
Cool.
Yeah, for me,
carry on.
But guys, I'll be 2 seconds. I've got to check something else. Something's happened. I'll be straight back.
But you know what? Still, we were 13th when we were at the end of the after the Ipswich game. We were 13th.
Lubo, I'm right. But can you see my confusion? You've often said Ange nearly relegated us, and just now you've made a different statement. The last time we nearly got relegated was a long time ago. Those two things do not align. That's why I mentioned it.
Those 3 wins in February pulled us well clear. And after that, we were fine. We were 16, 17 points clear, I think.
So Ange didn't nearly relegate us.
Exactly.
That's the point. That's not what you've been
saying. But you know what? Listen, thank God, Ange's long gone now. You know, we're on to the second manager since him. But he normalised losing. He got into these players' heads and he made it normal to lose. So I'm believe me, I've got there's no warmth from me towards Postecoglou. He was the worst tactical manager we've had in my lifetime. Horrendous.
Yeah, Frank was
anyway,
awesome.
There you go.
Frank was fantastic.
Frank wasn't that much better either, believe me. But we shouldn't be having.
Frank's got the worst Premier League record of any Spurs manager we've ever had. The worst.
Well, there you go. Listen, between the two of them, we shouldn't have had either of them anywhere near our club. You agree still?
No, of course I
don't. You don't. Listen, no. we have seen. I've seen 1 or 2.
I think since sacking Ange, it's been the worst season we've ever had in the Premier League ever. Horrific. We're not going to win.
Do you think it would have been better? Do you think if Ange was here, it would have been better still?
I think the morale in the squad would have been at a much higher level. Yes, I think the morale would have been better.
I actually don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with the idea, because I remember at the time saying, like, I was kind of like the opposite to you still, in as much as like you flipped to Ange in after the trophy. I don't want to get into the Ange conversation, but I was Ange in for a long time, and it was only right towards the end that I went Ange out, but not because of his football. It's because I just fell out of love with his communication. I fell out of love with his sort of double speak. But then I was always like, if he does win the trophy, it will be interesting to see what the players will be able to do with, like, you know, Europa League winner medals, like Mikey Moore being a Europa League winner, all these sorts of things. Would the catalyst, would that be some sort of like a conveyor belt of enthusiasm and belief in themselves? But for that to have happened, you would have had to have seen it with Ange. I think it's a fair question to ask whether or not you would have seen a better version of the squad this season than last season. And clearly the injuries weren't an Ange Postecoglou specific thing. They were obviously a club thing, right? But I still don't know whether it would have been any better because Ange obviously went to Nottingham Forest and he had just as bad, if not worse, track record there because his system was sort of found out to some degree, wasn't it?
I think the problem with Forest was, and I'll criticise him here. He's an idiot for taking that job. I think he was so desperate to get back into the Premier League, he took the wrong job. It was a pragmatic team built by a pragmatic manager that was used to playing pragmatic counter-attacking football, not aligned with his ethos. Whereas at least the Spurs players, he'd had 2 years with them, and they knew his way, and they'd been synced into his kind of thinking. And I think him taking the Forest job, he's made himself look stupid by doing that. He's made himself look really stupid by doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, we'll never know, right? Different timeline of reality. Speaking of which, though, right, let's talk about managers for a second. I don't know, because I reached out to Connor because we are going to move into the change for Tottenham debate. Connor, if you're still watching this, but you're not looking at your phone, I did just message you. I know you said to me, because I spoke to Connor earlier and said, here's the link. And he went, what do you mean, here's the link? I'm supposed to be coming on for Thursday. I went, oh, sorry, my bad. And he's like, I can actually come on if you want me now. And I said, oh, don't worry, we'll keep it for Thursday. But actually, Connor, if you are watching this still and you want to come on, then we are going to have a change for Tottenham conversation. We can still have it on Thursday as well. But I know that Stell's obviously got some, his thoughts. I know he put some posts out and stuff. I'm sure he wants to get it off his chest and stuff about the C4T. And we've all probably got takes around what Thursday or what Sunday's action should look like. So we'll come to that. Connor, if you can come on, you're more than welcome. You have the link. If not, we can wait for Thursday. But Stell and Lubo, you guys are here now. I want to sort of talk a little bit about the manager we currently have, the head coach we currently have, Igor Tudor. Look, 24 hours ago, at this time, 24 hours, no, wait, maybe, I don't know, 36 hours ago, pretty much universally in terms of what my experience was on the online space, everybody that I saw in my chat and everyone else's wanted Igor Tudor to be sacked after Atletico Madrid, or they were saying give him until Liverpool, and then assuming Liverpool goes the way that it was going to go in all of our minds, then we'll sack him after that, and then we'll bring in and then insert whoever your favourite candidate was there. After the performance, I asked on my chat on the post-match show, what do you think now? I also put a poll out on Twitter. I think the poll had 1,000 votes, and I think certainly had maybe 2,000 votes on my Spurs talk show. It's basically the same, 50-50. The fan base has suddenly split to 50-50 on do you want Igor Tudor to be sacked regardless of this result. So a big swing, a big pendulum swing towards the no for the people that were sort of won over, or at least can justify getting him having another game, at least another game, maybe two. But that's always the case with polls. I remember that doing Levy out polls after he signed one player, after he signed whoever it was, after he failed to sign Eze, the pendulum swung violently towards Levy and Enoch out. And then after we signed somebody else, I think it was Xavi Simons, the pendulum swung back again. I mean, it's just one of these things, right? Momentary reactions, emotional outbursts and stuff. Luke, I'll start with you, mate. Igor Tudor, did he do enough for you, not for the club? The club have already made it clear that they are sticking with him game. For you, did he do enough yesterday to earn a reprieve? Still hoping that he was given his P45?
No, he didn't. For me, it's interesting. I want Tudor out for one main reason: team selection. You know, it was funny. You know, he's come into a team lacking confidence, loads of injuries, and he's got every sympathy. He's got every sympathy from me for that, but he doesn't set the team up in the right way. For me, you know, you're playing 4-4-2. You're playing Gallagher on the right hand side. I mean, yesterday, you know, you're playing Spence left back, Porro right back, Sousa right midfield. It's for me, it's wrong.
Can you understand the logic of playing Sousa right midfield?
No, none whatsoever.
Can I offer you an idea and see what you think of it? We've all been talking about square pegs and square holes, right? Left backs that are attacking minded, if they're technically capable and if they can dribble and they're obviously left footed. If you want balance, then you can do that by offering a left back in a right midfield role or right winger role. Like there's plenty of examples. Patrick Dorgu at his previous club, for example, spent half of his season before he came to United playing left back, the other half playing right wing forward. Right, I remember looking at Patrick Dorgu when he was linked at Tottenham, and I was like, "Are we looking at him as a right winger or a left back? I'm not sure, or a left wing back. Right, I'm not sure." But like, if we were looking for square pegs and square holes and trying to get balance to a team, if you have a right winger, a right footer, left winger in Matisse Tell, yes, you can make the argument that Kolo Muani could have carried on playing in that role. But I think there was the other argument around having some options off the bench in case the game was going a little bit south. So the argument was to play, at least the argument as I see it, is to give Sousa a chance because he struggles defensively. But if you play him in a position like right wing, he can cut in and do the sort of thing that we saw him do, which was have a crack with his left foot from distance. I mean, it might not be a strong argument, but that's the argument that I can foresee as like a justification for the decision.
Well, listen, we saw what the young Liverpool boy did to Porro. So I'd have much rather have had Spence there, who is a much better defender than Porro. Porro's a wing back. He's not a right back. So for me, that would have solidified the back four even more. And Spence is a right back. He's not a left back. At the end of the day, you've got to play players to their strengths. It's ridiculous. He's trying to be a little bit of a maverick. Why? Just keep it basic. We're in a fight against relegation. It's not like we're mid-table, and if you lose one or two games, it's not going to make any difference either way. Sorry, for me, listen, I can't change. I didn't change with Ange because of Bilbao, and I won't change with Tudor because of Anfield.
Okay. So you still like him sacked right now, would you? In an ideal world, yeah.
For me, I just don't trust him to put players in the right position and put players and pick the right team for Sunday. I mean, I'm very, very worried about what team he'll pick. I mean, God knows who's he going to pick? Where's he going to put them? And he could have 6 players back. He could have Romero, Van de Ven, who should be back, Gallagher, Palhinha, Basuma, and Udogie. So you could have those 6 added to the squad from yesterday. And I mean, fancy taking 7, including 2 keepers, putting 7 instead of 9 on the bench. Take a couple of the kids along for the experience. I just thought that was ridiculous as well.
Was it maybe to prove a point, to make a point to Johan Lang that you fucking left us short, you donut?
What for? Better to give these kids an experience than worry about making a point to Lang. Who cares?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I would make the argument for me personally. He's sort of winning me over a little bit with the way that he's treating the Sky broadcasters. I kind of respect that. He's also kind of, I also don't mind the situation where, it looks like he did a rally cry in his own sort of Croatian way. And I don't know, or maybe it's a tiny sample size, Lubo, but it looks like I think it kind of had an impact, right? He took risk last night, but it worked, right? So
no, listen, there were definitely pluses there. You could see the players were playing for him, and sometimes you got to call out. It's called tough love, isn't it? And that's what he did. But I'm still very, very worried because I don't think he's picked the right players in the right positions, literally from day one. I mean,
fair enough, mate. Big up to Connor for joining, mate. I'll come to you in just a second. I'll come to you last on the on this particular topic as well, Connor. Stel, first of all, Johnny, are you okay, mate? Everything okay? You're on mute, mate. Can't hear you, mate. You're on mute.
No, I just had a knock on the door, and so I had to go. It was the police that were here and was wondering, but it was nothing to do with us. They got the right road, but not the right house.
Okay, good.
So they brought the wife back, which
Fair enough. Stay there, John. I'll come to you next. Stel, Igor Tudor has yesterday, in your mind, changed anything on Igor Tudor?
No. One game can't do that the way it did. He's not been here long enough, that one game, to make the difference. Listen, I'll tell you what. I'll say this, right? If I'm going to get hammered for 4 months being called flip-flop, right? And now the entire fan base is going to flip on this. Everyone go kiss my ass. I tell you now, you'll go kiss my ass. Because how dare you? How dare you if you're going to do this, all of you people? Unbelievable. I mean, I've got a point,
Is this why you seem a little bit down? Everyone, listen, can I just ask everyone out there? Like, I'm worried. Is everyone okay on the panel? The energy in the room tonight seems really fucking low. I'm trying to get involved here, but everyone's like, What's going on, people?
Sean. Listen.
Sean,
For me,
Sean.
for me, I'd get rid of him. Listen, the police knocking at the door for your crimes on YouTube, Johnny. Go and deal with it. You're
That's fucking brilliant. Fair play. That's funny. That's funny.
If I saw Tottenham set up with players what I believe is in the right position, and I saw Tottenham actually playing a type of football, I could say this coach is getting something out of them that gave me belief that we're going to give every team we play a game, I'd say keep him. But I'm of the opinion that we were crap yesterday, and so were Liverpool. I'm still of that opinion.
Fair enough.
I wasn't impressed by either team. It was an awful game. I just don't think this fan base knows what it wants, Sean, with everything. And I think the manager's another one. You know, if one point at Anfield now makes people say, right, we've got to keep him. I'll tell you what, it's one hell of a risk if we keep him, because he's now going to get the Madrid game.
Mm-hmm.
If we get pumped in that game, do you sack him or do you keep him? Because Johnny and Lubo, you talk about morale, momentum. Well, if that goes out the window, he's now taking us into Forest.
That's a massive
And
risk.
if you sack him, on Thursday morning, then you guys got 2 days.
100%.
Can't do that to the next guy. So
100%.
if you're going to get rid of him,
and Sunday is the biggest game that Tottenham have had it forever.
in 3 decades, other than the Champions League final. So you've got to say, if you're going to get rid of him, it's now, or you don't until after the Forest game, when there's the international break. But then the Forest game, if you lose that with him,
It's that game over anyway.
You fucked it.
Yeah.
So I would sack him, because I don't believe we're going to beat Forest with him. I don't. So I would sack him. But then everyone else, not everyone, but a lot of fans now, because they saw one game where we actually showed some effort, that's it now. Keep him. I think it's wild. I think the way, like you said, the way the pendulum swung off that game, it is insane. And die-hard, staunch TUDOR-outers, like hardcore ones on YouTube and journalists, they've all just flipped.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I can't understand it personally. I'm with Lubo on this.
No, listen, I don't. The logic there is absolutely spot on, because if you do lose to Nottingham Forest with him, and this was all just a full storm, what happened yesterday was it was more Liverpool being shit than Tottenham doing anything magical, then you have run the gauntlet. And it's almost, you could make the argument, Johnny, that maybe yesterday was an additional sort of spanner in the works of the logic train, right, of the sort of strategy. Because if we did lose 4-0 yesterday, it would have been simple to have just gone, you know what, he's done, bring in whoever the club thinks is the right guy for that final Hail Mary. But the fact that he did enough, he didn't win the game, so he didn't get 3 points, which would have been worth the decision being simplified. But now, like Estelle says, right, if you're giving him Madrid and it works, great, you give him Forest. But if it doesn't work and we go back to where we were against the last few teams, then it's too late to change before Forest, and Forest is too big of a game.
To be honest with you, I always thought that the change would come after the Forest game, come what may, because there's a 3-week gap after the Forest game to start getting their shit together, and it's the biggest gap to come bring someone in. But look, the Liverpool game, let's make no bones about it. Liverpool had one eye on the Champions League game midweek. They rested Ekitike, they rested Salah, rested Curtis Jones, and so on and so forth, and Kanate as well. So they did have one eye on midweek. So maybe the result flattered us, but let's be honest, right? Let's give credit where credit's due. If you took 13 players out of any top side in the Premier League right now, they'd be massively struggling. And I think to come out with that performance, with what we had available, a mishmash, I still hear people hearing saying square pegs in round holes. Yeah, it was a little bit strange. But considering what he had smorgasbord of bits and pieces to try and put them all together and try and make sense of it all, Yeah. I'm glad he saw sense and didn't start with Moani, even though Moani came on and, did a bit at the end. And Xavi Simons, you know, he's come on. He has to get rid of that body language, mate. It's absolutely shocking. Second, he lost the ball. It was someone else's fault. You got to stop with that crap, mate. Right? It's, you know, big time Charlie here anymore. You ain't at Barca. You ain't at PSG. You're at Tottenham. You're in a relegation fight. There's a reason why you're not playing, because you ain't up for the fight. Two managers have said the same thing. But, you know, I think, you know, was I in favour? Would I have cried if Tudor had got sacked before the game? Absolutely not. After Madrid.
Where are you at now, though?
I just think that result, you know, if he has got something out of them, and there is that morsel of belief somewhere in that group, and they're listening to him because he's banging heads, then I need to see it. I will reiterate what I said before. I think Madrid is massively important on Wednesday. I just think we need to try and get momentum and get a win. I don't care if it's 1-0. I don't care if it's a 1-0 penalty. We need to get over the drama of what happened last week. As I said, I don't think they were that good. And I think had we realised that the pitch was shit and done some research, that's the backroom staff, and done some research, they would have seen Barcelona got humped 4-0 and they couldn't stand up on their feet. So, you know, I don't think they were that good. And I think if we can beat them on Wednesday, then that puts us in a fantastic position for Nottingham Forest. And let's be honest, look, whatever happens, the Forest game is going to be extremely difficult. They got a 2-2 draw with Man City. They ain't going to be easy to beat. They've got top players. In fact, when I look at the teams, the players they have available right now, compared to what we have available right now, fit, I would say their team is better, but they're not getting the results either. So I think if he's going to go after the Forest game, whatever happens.
Connor, thanks for coming on, mate. Listen, we just to sort of round up the chat before we move into the next topic. I've got some super chats before we do that. We're talking obviously about Igor Tudor, and is it a spanner in the works in the strategic decision making of the people that aren't capable of making strategic decision making, you know, outcomes that are positive? Where do you stand on Igor Tudor right now?
Yeah, look, I think. I mean, Stell talks about the fan base flip-flopping on sort of this one result. The board are making decisions based on one result, right? And that's the bigger problem for me, is that there's no plan. As always, it's let's see what happens. We'll go to the next game. And that's how you can find yourself muddling all the way through to suddenly you're in a position where you run out of games, because what's to say? Let's say we beat Atletico Madrid, but then we draw with Forest. And then they go, oh, maybe we'll keep him because we didn't lose. And then you just keep doing that. And then suddenly you find yourself in this perilous position where you've run out of games. And I think this is the problem with their decision making under this new regime, where they want to wait and see, and no one really wants to put their head above the parapet to make a decision, right? And the same thing happened with Frank a little bit. And we kept giving him a little bit more and a little bit more, a little bit more, until it really became, you know, completely unpalatable. And you could argue that was too late. We lost the whole of January when we had a decent set of fixtures. And would we be in this situation now if they'd got rid of him earlier in January? Perhaps not, right? And they may have been able to have found a better interim than Igor Tudor as well, if they'd given that person more games, a whole January window, if they'd acted differently in the January window, etc., etc., etc. So every time you don't make a decision, you make a decision, right? And I think that's the risk that they're playing with. I think for me, I think a lot of it as well, probably a bit like when they got rid of Frank, though, is who is going to come in. You know, right. We're sitting on these shows and we're talking about 8-year-old men or managers that have had one.
Don't do that. I'll be absolutely fantastic.
I've invited the AI Redknapp now, haven't I? Or we're talking about, you know, ex-Tottenham legends that have never managed or haven't managed for years and years and years. And so I think this is probably what they're grappling with behind the scenes. They just don't have a fucking clue what to do. And, you know, 1 minute it looks like we're approaching De Zerbi for the permanent role, and then they're looking at an interim. Now, obviously, Ornstein has leaked this point about them looking for an alternative, so they quite clearly are. I my sense is they can't find one who they think is really viable, and then this result, obviously against Liverpool, has bought them a little bit of time. I mean, look, I think on the Liverpool game itself, look, and my overall view of Tudor, I don't think he's the answer. I think he's come in like a bull in a china shop. He's come in with that Conte-esque aura, but without having any of the credibility of a Conte. I think he's picking players. Obviously we've got umpteen players out, so it is difficult, but he's exacerbating that issue by picking players in the wrong position as well and making that even worse. So we've got absolutely no balance whatsoever. Even against Liverpool, I mean, it was a baffling team selection. Obviously we ended up doing better than expected, but look, I think it's I think they will keep him, because I just don't think they know what to do, to be honest, Sean. I don't think they know what to do, and I think if we lose to Forest, they'll get rid of him because it'll be a panic reaction. But I don't think that there's no proactivity in this decision making. So
you can't be clueless today. Sorry, I was just going to say you can't be clueless today and a genius tomorrow. So,
but are we making the assumption, right? Because we're hearing from, I don't know, the Matt Laws of the world or whoever's right in the journalist space, that Tottenham are, the Alex Crooks of the world, the same people, the Ben Jacobs of the world, the same people that talk absolute bollocks all summer long and all January about all the transfers that we're linked with. Like, they come out and go, oh yeah, Tottenham are thinking about bringing back Harry, thinking about bringing back this, thinking about bringing back that, thinking about What?
You sound like me now. You sound like me.
You notice, mate, I flip-flop. I think we need to do a communal flip-flop video, if I'm honest, for the entire everyone that's watching.
Get your AI Stelios face on when you talk like
this. I'll get it logged in a minute. It's not logged in at the moment. But are we not guilty here of like putting two and two together, because Alex Crooks and the Ben Jacobs and all these guys are saying, oh, Tottenham are thinking about this and that and the other? Like, there's nothing come out from the football club at all. Not a statement of concern, not a statement of support, nothing. Right. So for all we know, Vinay and Johan Lang, or whoever it is that's calling the shots at Tottenham right now, there's no intention to sack Igor Tudor. We believe that they're flip-flopping their decision based on one game, but maybe they're not. Maybe they're like, no, we gave him the chance. He's going to live or breathe by his decisions.
They're too scared to sack him,
though, Sean, can't they? They can leak the opposite, right? They could brief the media to say Tudor's our man till the end of the season, right?
Sure, but I'm saying they haven't done anything, right? So why are we to assume that the journalists are not talking bollocks here still?
Arsenal are in a cup final in a week's time. Arsenal are about to win the league. They're in the Champions League. This quad thing's on. They should all be talking about how finally it's all come together. That should be the main story. The bigger story in football is Tottenham. We are selling more views, more eyeballs, more podcast listens. We are the talk of the town. So it makes perfect sense for the journalists to come out and say, they've got De Zerbi lined up. They're going to spin whatever's going to get the eyeballs, because they know the eyeballs are there. They can't wait to pick up the... So, mate, I don't believe a fucking word of it. None of it.
So then maybe we're sitting there thinking that, this, by the way, this is not an attempt for me to sit there and protect the current majority owners from any kind of criticism, because I'm more than happy to throw it in any direction we want to go. But this assumption that the ownership don't know what to do, maybe they shut up, Lubo. For those of you listening back, he hasn't said anything, but he's held up a silly little newspaper written by an absolute bozo. Let's be entirely honest. I don't know. Are we just guilty of thinking that that the club are umming and ahhing on what to do here, when in reality there's no umming and ahhing, and that they've decided that Igor Tudor was the guy a month ago, and they're going to let this one play out?
They're too scared to sack him. I mean, he reminds me of Vlad the Impaler. I mean, like, I wouldn't like to go to war with him. I mean, really, honestly, the guy is probably fearsome, right? When he had a fearsome reputation as a player, a very good player, I must hasten to add, a very good defender, a guy that fears nothing and fears nobody. And I've got to be honest with you, I kind of like how he's dealing with these arsehole journalists right now. I think, some would have cringed. I don't think Thomas Frank would have done too well with some of the questions and the way. I think it's a total lack of respect for him as a manager and for the club as a whole. I'm all behind him. I would be sort of picking holes in some of the things he's saying. I did take exception to the fact what he said. We don't come here with confidence in any game at the moment. I think that's what he said, something like that before the Liverpool game. Yeah,
I think Igor Tudor has handled the media superbly. I personally think he's handled. They're proper going for him, and the way he's dealt with them is so cool. He's actually a very cool operator with the media, so he's done well with that. I'll give him a lot of credit for that.
It's so much fun the other night. Absolutely sensational. Listen, guys, let me do a couple of super chiddly chit chats, and then we're going to get into the change for Tottenham thing. Don't you point at me! Don't you point at me, Johnny! Let's get some super chats done. Jamie Bryant says, big up to you, Jamie. Would OK Jersey do a 125-year anniversary shirt, half white, half blue? One. Big up, chaps. Love the shows. Is that an existing shirt? If that's an existing shirt, Jamie, then okay, I could go and ask.
Yeah, it's a nice one. You talking about the gradient one? I think that goes from blue to white. It's a very nice shirt, that one.
I'll go and ask. I'll see what they say. Big up to you, Jamie. Thank you very much, mate, for the super chat. Big up to you, buddy. Sniffer from Newcastle fan. Big up to you, Sniff. He says Stell looks like he's had a promise off a liar.
Stell looks like he's had a promise. I don't get it. It's gone over my head. Explain it.
It means you're not. You don't look happy. You don't look happy tonight.
You look upset.
You look upset. Yeah.
I couldn't give a shit. By the way, why have you made me look like a 1990s Vauxhall Cavalier cab driver?
It's just
I'm not one of them dodgy cab drivers from Leicester Square that you pay £5 to go home.
I just took a picture from the show we were on, and that's what I worked with. That's the AI tool.
It's a terrible cab driver. Look, that's terrible, man.
Hello, where you want to go? Where you want to go?
You're such an idiot. You're such an idiot.
Big up to you, Sniffer. Appreciate you, mate. Sanilla says, Sean, I can't go Wednesday. Take my pair of tickets for the Clover Club. What's the Clover Club? Very cool of you, man. I don't know what that means, but I'll find a way. Can you DM me and I'll converse with you, mate? That's I'm on Twitter or Instagram. I wouldn't take anything for free, mate.
003.
Is that where you get buttered? What is that? Is that before you get buttered before you go in?
If I get 4 leaf, that'd be lucky for Tottenham on Wednesday night. That's what we need. Very generous of you, Sinilla. You're a very, very generous man, mate. Always supporting you, mate. Thank you very much, mate, for your support of the show. Always super generous. And I don't know what the Clover Club is, mate, but it's super generous of you to offer. I always feel guilty about taking those sorts of things, mate. I appreciate it. But
apparently it's some kind of cocktail bar.
Oh, now we're talking.
That's up the top.
Celebration time. Come on. Da, 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 da.
Sean, if you're on the 8th floor, mate, you'll need the Atletico Madrid safety net, mate, to stop you falling out after about 8 cocktails.
Apparently, it's some kind of cocktail thing.
Very cool.
I think it must be at the very top floor.
It says the Clover Club is a pre-prohibition cocktail with it must be to do with some kind of drink or something.
I think he's made a typo. I think it's the Cover Club at Tottenham, which is one of the hospitality areas.
Oh, is it?
That's even better. You've got as much pre-booze as you want.
Very, very nice, you Snilla. I always feel guilty about taking those sorts of things, mate. It's very cool of you to offer, buddy. Very much, mate. Thank you so much. Ledley's Knee says, don't know if Spurs had already put money in Robertson's account prior to him changing his mind, but I'd like to thank him for Sunday's pre-assist. I mean, that was a stinker against old Kolo Muani, wasn't it? But lovely little touch from Kolo Muani. You know,
very nice.
Double knee drift and then a little pass off to Richarlison.
Guys, can we quickly talk about that?
Sure.
What have I suggested that he plays in that 10 role? I'm telling you, that's where we need to play him. He can do something there. I've said it months ago. I saw it. I honestly think, forget what he's done in the past at other clubs. At Tottenham, I think he needs to play in the 10 with 2 attacking mids, and I think you're going to see a different player. honestly,
I got to be
he's
honest with
got
you.
it.
Yeah, no, listen. He's there somewhere. I don't know what's happened to him, but I'd like to give a big shout out to Dom Solanke's gloves, who put in a better performance than him. I don't understand what is wrong with that guy. Can he not jump? Can he not jump? I don't understand what's going on. I mean, he's had enough games now. Do we
He
not
won
think he's had
85% of his duels, mate.
ground duels, mate?
Yeah, ground duels. Yeah, ground duels. Yeah.
Yeah, right. He didn't jump.
Yeah, it's important context.
Yeah, no, he didn't jump, mate. He didn't jump. Yeah. And look, I just look. We all saw. Whatever you think about Richie, if you're locked and loaded and you're going into battle, that's the guy you want on your side. We've seen him do it at Everton, and I just thought I'd see a little bit more. I saw more fight in Archie Gray and Danso and Spence and Tell than I saw from Solanke, and it was kind of disappointing. Hopefully it's a one-off game, but he needs to buckle up, and hopefully he'll look back on that game and see his contribution was mighty poor.
Yeah. So still you're saying Mwani's shit, he's just not shit in the 10. Is that what we're saying?
I think if we want to get something out of him, forget this whole left-wing striker nonsense, play him in the 10, because I've seen him many a time beat one man, two man, and James Flower goes, "When's he ever beaten a man?" I said, "James, he can beat a man." And rather than shoot or put a cross in, just lay it off, like he did for Odebert against Aston Villa in the FA Cup. Same thing down the middle, laid it off. I'm telling you, that's the player that we can get out of him.
Do you just need to go as a 4-2-2-2 then? Just make him more narrow on the right wing.
He just can't be the lone 10. He can't be the lone 10 because he's not Ericsson. There's got to be some kind of. I honestly think
I agree with you. I agree. He's better
Simmons and Mwani, and you'd get more out of Simmons as well. I that's what I observed. That's what I would do. Simmons and Mwani. But Tudor hates Mwani. But Tudor hates Simmons. He fucking hates him.
This club has taken a picture of Antonio Conte or Sean Butler, Antonio Conte, and put it in there. They're used to it here. They're used to it here. They don't want to play under pressure. They don't want to play under the stress. Big up to you, Dister Club. Big up to you, mate. Thank you very much for the speech.
You stop there. These owners.
These owners. Yeah. All right, guys, let's move into the next segment of the show. Connor, you are the author of the Change for Tottenham message, right? And obviously new member of the team. Very well written, very articulate, well articulated. Let's hear about the decision and everything that's going on there, because obviously.
Are we having, just before you go, are we having articulation versus delegation?
That's what it is. Articulation time, come on. Da, da, da,
on, look, I think it's an extremely difficult decision to make, right? I think is the starting point. I mean, you know what my views are on the ownership. I've been hugely critical of ENIC, spent hours of my own time, sadly going over our financials to dig stuff out, to criticise, to try to get people behind Change for Tottenham, to get people behind the ENIC out movement more generally. And look, I'm newer to Change for Tottenham, so I've only come on board recently. Obviously, as you said, helped to draft that statement around the decision for the Nottingham Forest game. But Sean, from the conversations we've had, I've always been sort of supportive of the movement, and I think it's a really difficult job that the guys have got in terms of managing Change for Tottenham, because I think we are working against a fan base that on the whole does not get behind the movement in the way that it should, in my view. I think there is a lot of apathy towards the ownership. I think, we saw when all of us were at the West Ham protests, there was about 150 of us, and 55,000 fans walked straight past us and couldn't even be bothered to stand on the side of the road for 5 minutes to support the protest. Now, that could be because they don't share the view. It could be because, as I said, they're apathetic. It could be because some of them don't even know who ENIC are, to be honest. And so these are all of the things that you're sort of working against. And I think, if I look at what Change for Tottenham have done pre me joining, they've definitely made mistakes along the way. None of them are professional protesters or anything like that. They're season ticket holders that are trying to do this as a movement on the side. And, you know, I think the risk, particularly after what was probably a ill-made decision in terms of the walkout against Man City, is the next thing that change for Tottenham do risks ruining them completely, right? And I think, you know, we are in such a perilous situation right now with this relegation battle. And for me, it's not even necessarily about just getting behind the team at this juncture. I think for me, it was also about every single supporter group is coming out together as a joint initiative to get behind the team. And change for Tottenham would have had to go against all of them and risk again a poor turnout to a protest and potentially kill change for Tottenham off for good. And so for me, on the balance of all of those things, the right decision was to postpone the action. But I know Stell's got some strong views on it, so I'm happy to get into it.
Is that a cue for me to speak?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. I didn't know if we were going around speaking. So essentially, what I take from that is you're doing it out of self-preservation because you're saying that you counted it. Yeah. Well, that for me is weak then, because there's no backbone to listen. Connor, see, I like you. I like Billy T. I spoke with Billy T today with what's happened. This isn't an attack on an individual, right? I respect you guys because we all have similar views on ENIC. I think this is a massive cop-out because for me, and I'll just bring it up on the screen, to post this, you know, now the whole fan base must stand up and you guys stand down, then it says there's no substance to the words you put out there. The communication has no meaning. It's just words. The same way criticize people from being emotional and reacting on emotion, then that statement was put out on an emotional reaction with no thought going into it. I had someone contact me yesterday saying, why aren't the protests going on? What have they done? I said, look, I don't run Change for Tottenham. They'd rescheduled their work. They've paid £100 for a train ticket down to London and back to protest. They're not going to the game. And now that's all gone to waste. I don't think Change for Tottenham understand the significance of what they've done for some fans. For me, if we are going to bring about change, it needs to be consistent. It needs to be a clear message. I think the word change, I get it in the beginning because the ENIC out, leave the outlaw was slandered with unbelievable rhetoric, which was unjustified. But it has to be ENIC out. There should be one message, ENIC out or nothing. Because change is too vague. It's almost, how do we please everyone but please nobody? And that protest you spoke about, and again, I'm not attacking, it's just observation. Because I know how hard it is to organize these things. Because we were doing it, and it didn't work when we were doing it. But the reason only 100 people turned up is it was last minute, it was rushed, and it was literally half an hour before kickoff. The whole thing made no sense. So I disagree with cancelling the protest massively. I think ENIC are now going to get away with it. They've been let off the hook. Those that don't want protests and those that don't want ENIC to be part of any conversation because they're empathetic to ENIC and deep down they don't want change and they'll never say that. They want this to be a big hoo-ha on the high street to support the players, to cover up their inability to take action. It protects them now from being criticised. It protects ENIC now. And this conversation of, I'll wait to the end of the season, what? When there's no games, there's no cameras, and everyone's on holiday. I disagree with it. I think both should be happening. I think if fans want to have a big song and dance on the high street because they think that's going to G the team, do it. But the protest should also happen. It should be both. I don't understand why it's one or the other. And I don't think it's toxic to do a protest.
Well, that was, I was just about to respond. Yeah, same point, which is the problem is look, a protest being successful is predicated on getting numbers. If you have 7 people turn out, it does more damage than good, because it just completely goes, it makes the board and everyone else view it as, look at these are a little fringe movement. You've got 6 people standing over here with some yellow scarves, and then you've got 10,000 standing over here celebrating the bus coming in. It just makes you look ridiculous. It was taken, and I think on the point of, look, the U-turn, I think, look, that statement obviously was all of this is emotional, right? A lot of it is emotional. Part of, me coming on board with Change for Tottenham is that I want to hopefully help them get a little bit more strategic about the way that we target it. But naturally, football is emotional, right? And people react to emotion. That result was, I think that post that you pulled up was put out in response to a bad result. We need to get more strategic. That is a learning for Change for Tottenham for sure. But similarly, it would be very, very naive of the group to not react to new information either. So the new information that we've got since that post was made is that all of the supporters groups are coming out and doing a huge initiative together in response to the relegation battle that we're facing right now, which is a pivotal moment in our history as a football club. If we ended up not reacting to that, and as I say, there's 6 people standing with yellow scarves over here and 10,000 standing over here, Change for Tottenham is completely dead. It's dead.
Which is
Can
why
I
Change for
can I
Tottenham
interject? Sorry, I just wanted to
Can I
say
say one thing, Johnny? Can I say one thing? That's why Change for Tottenham, as soon as they put that statement out, they should have gone straight away. Right, this is the date, this is the protest, get us all on board on the YouTube, go first, move first, and then what it's allowed is all this vagueness and no comms or nothing, this silence has allowed the other groups to then rally, and now they've taken over the way they want. And it feels to me, Connor, it just feels it's just yet another organisation, just like the Spurs Supporters Trust and everyone else, where it's just another failed group that doesn't have the backbone to do what it takes. That's how it feels to me. It's like Keir Starmer. I don't want to say you lot are Labour or Keir Starmer, but it's like Keir Starmer. The backbenchers control him, not the leader. And that's what it feels like now. The other groups control what you do. The other groups aren't eating out. They're not fighting for change. So I want to agree with you, but I can't.
Can I just say, look, for someone who has actually turned up in most of all of them since I've known about it with Brian and what have you, which is where I've met Stel and a lot of people. I do actually understand the mindset of this. If I'm brutally honest, right, I think right now, as pissed off as I am with the club, and I'm mightily pissed off with what went on in January and what's gone on in all this time, failure after failure after failure. I'm pissed off with some of the players. But above all of that, in my mind and in my heart, I want our club to survive in the Premier League. And that is first and foremost above anything else. And I think if we, get behind the players, to stand there and create an unbelievable atmosphere and give them that 10% extra. And if that gets us over the line, I'm all for doing this, which is to support the players in this home game against the Brighton home game. And once we're over the line, then all clubs are off. Then it's the demonstration. Then it's
no one's going to protest.
Shaking your head. I know
I'm saying no one's going to protest then.
But
I'm saying no one's going to protest.
I understand that. Still, I understand that. But my point is, we got different agendas, right? I want to stay up at all costs. Like Lubo
my agenda's eating out. I've got one agenda.
I understand that. Well,
you've got the same agenda.
No, I'd like ENIC out, but I'd also like to... Look, Lubo and I are older than you, right? We don't want to go and spend another year or 2 years in the Championship and not see us back in the Premier League or whatever, right? What I'm saying to you is it has to be that there has to be more thought about change for Tottenham, because it is definitely not resonating, and it hasn't done for a long time. There's been probably 2 demonstrations in all the time I've known it where there's been significant numbers. The rest of the time, I remember going down, the first time Brian said to me to come down, I turned up there and there was 20 guys at the side of the road. I actually felt embarrassed, right? I was waiting for this big political movement, right? I mean, it was. I felt embarrassed, and the last demonstration after we met at the 8 part, and I came out, and where was everyone? There was no one there. There was
Connor,
no one there.
can I ask you, Connor? Is anybody in the Change for Tottenham movement of the same mindset as Stell is, that ENIC out is more important, and that is more likely to be achieved, or that the football club will become better decision makers in a world where we go down? Is there anybody in the C for T movement that would want to see relegation more than they would staying up?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So, Stell, do you think that like is part of the reason why you can't get on board the kind of concept of what they're trying to achieve? Is it because like they're coming from an angle of, in order for Tottenham to stay up, the best outcome is around trying to rally the energy of the fan base to be on board, like that?
And Sean,
I said
just to add to that point.
Both. Hold on, I said do both. I'm not saying listen to me. No, listen to Connor. I'm saying do both.
Yeah,
but
he's right. Connor's right. You can have 7 over there and none.
You can
1,000 over there
because it's disorganized. The messaging's wrong. The comms don't have substance anymore. No one believes in what they say. This is of course no one turns up. I'm saying you can back the team and hate the regime at the same time.
Let me. I completely agree with that point, and I've had this. I was
exactly, Connor,
steadfast in that exact same view when people said to me before, and we've had people talk about the protest, and they say, "Oh, I'm not sure whether I'm going to go to a protest because I feel it's a bit toxic, and it's going to affect the players." Right? I get that. This one is different, though, because of the basis that it's not just people going to the game. There is a huge rally being organised by 5 or 6 different supporters groups in conjunction with the club, which is going to have all of these people congregating in one place, which is just going to put the spotlight even more if we organise something that's Changed for Tottenham over here, as I said, because it would be ridiculously embarrassing because of the turnout that you would get for this versus that.
Who are the other 5 or 6 different groups, Connor?
So you've got Return of the Shelf, Spurs Song Sheet. You've got, I think OS17 are involved. I think there's some of the TikTok guys that are involved with some of the.
They're not supporters. They're just people, right? Just pop people.
No. There's a few
tens of thousands of followers, right?
Right.
And
Return of the Shelf obviously is a fan atmosphere group, right? And
none of them fight for change. None of those groups fight for change. Not a single one of them says ENIC out, Levy out, goes to protest, demonstrates, boycotts. Give them crumbs, and they'll say, "Yeah, we're back. Everything's great."
Okay, so that's fine still. But let me ask this though: if what you're advocating then is do both, what percentage of the people that are supporters of Change for Tottenham nominally, right, the ones that sometimes turn up to protest, sometimes don't. When it was big, they were there. When it wasn't so big, they weren't there. What percentage of those people that you think would traditionally support Change for Tottenham, if given the choice on the day of being part of a 10,000 person march, which is singing songs and trying to get behind the team, versus going and being a part of the ENIC out noise? Can you acknowledge that what Connor's saying is that there's a fear that Change for Tottenham, which is essentially ENIC out as a movement, that those people, that it will look bad upon their own brand if they try to do a simultaneous protest, whether in the same area or otherwise, and you've got Get Out of Our Club being sung over here by a handful of people, and you've got Come On You Spurs being sung by thousands of people over here. Can you at least acknowledge what Connor's fears are around the C for T thing?
What credibility have CFT got left after this? What credibility has that organisation got left after this if they don't stand by their principles and stand by what they stand for? If you stand for something, you stand by it regardless. Otherwise, you don't stand for it because you're going to cave in when you feel resistance and you feel pressure from other groups. You're not a movement then because you're being influenced by groups that have a different view to you. Therefore, you're finished either way, in my opinion, Connor.
Still, we're not being influenced. We're being strategic about the fact that you need. There's many ways of challenging this ownership, right? The one that we seem to.
Connor, you're being influenced by other people's actions.
let me finish the point. The one that we are repeating all the time is okay. The one that we are repeating all the time is on boots on protest, right, in person. To the point that we've all raised, there's only been 2 of those that have been a success. The 2 last season. The West Ham one was not a success, was it? With 150 people.
No.
We spoke about it at length on every YouTube show. The mainstream media covered it. We still could only get 150 people. Now, if it was up to me, I personally wouldn't have announced any action for Nottingham Forest at the point that it was announced, because I thought the change for Tottenham needed longer to regroup after the Man City piece. And I think given where we are in the context, we had to see how it was going to play out for longer. However, we did. And obviously now we've had to react to the latest news. It's not about being influenced by other groups. It's about thinking more strategically about the fact that we need to try to get numbers to make protests be successful. You're not going to get numbers at this protest, and therefore it's more damaging to our credibility longer term to do something that is unsuccessful. That's where you got, we can all go back to sort of
Can I ask you a question?
15 to 20 blokes standing outside club shop
Can
shouting.
I jump in?
Yes. Stel, before you come in, let Connor finish his sentence, and then Lubo wants to have his say. Stel, you can come back in.
I agree. What I would say, Stel, it's really easy to say it's disorganized and to judge. That it's harder to do, right? Because if it was so easy to organize, the protests that you used to have 25 to 30 people on them. So why couldn't you ever do it? Why couldn't you ever get 100?
I've never been in charge.
Okay, all right. The protests you were involved in pre change of time. So how difficult it is.
Because those protests as well, in my opinion, weren't organised nowhere near the way they should have been. And I also believe there's certain things that should have been done differently, but I was in no position to tell those guys what to do when they'd been doing it for 10 years, and I was just helping and just being a part of it.
What would you have done different then, Stel?
Sorry, Johnny, just one sec, because I fall back, because Lubo's been sitting so patiently. He's got a lot to say about this as well. So let's, Lubo, go on, have your say, mate.
Okay, first point is you've got to define the movements. Change for Tottenham is, and I told Billy T this, I'm not saying anything on here that I've not said to his face. CFT is wishy-washy. It means nothing. What does it mean? Change for Tottenham. You've changed the manager, you've changed the players, you've changed the medical staff, you've changed the CEO. Everything at Tottenham in the last few months has changed, except even you could say that Joe Lewis is now in the background, and Charlie and Vivian and Nick Boucher have got involved. So there's been change right the way through the club. So if you're saying change for Tottenham, yes, there's been change for Tottenham, and everybody's still pissed off. If you want ENIC out, call it ENIC out. End of.
I'll just come in on this point on the name quickly before you go on to the next point, because I said this is a point that gets parroted a lot in chats about the fact that we need to change it from change for Tottenham to ENIC out as a name, right? Probably one of the most successful protest groups in the whole country for any club is at Man United. The group isn't called Glazers Out. It's called the 1958. What you call the group doesn't really matter. It's a point of branding. Now, the risk with rebranding now is that people know change for Tottenham is printed on scarves, it's printed on flags. They've already got a Twitter handle. That to me, that is a point that's massively exaggerated. We don't need to call it ENIC Out. The messaging needs to be clear that it's ENIC Out, and hopefully, if people read the statement today, they would have been clear that we are calling out the ownership at every juncture. I don't think it needs to be called ENIC Out, is my own personal.
Where did it say ENIC Out there, mate? And you're saying it's clear at every juncture. It doesn't say it anywhere. So I don't know what you're on about, Connor. Clear at every juncture. It's not there. It's not there.
Stel, before you come back in, sorry, just Lubo, finish your point, mate.
It's not true.
Okay, so let me just go back. So you just got to, for me, change for Tottenham, ENIC Out, whatever you want to call it. I've got to go back to the drawing boards, and I've got to look at the lessons that have been learned over the last few months. The protest for Man United was excellent. It was well advertised, well marketed. Billy, and was it Lyndon, were on, and Christina were going on different YouTube channels, and it was very, very well marketed. It was, these guys were on Talk Sport, they're on Sky Sports. And that was how it should be done. And for me, I looked at it and I thought, there's an easy 2,000 people here. You then moved on, what was it, 7 weeks to the Southampton one that wasn't quite as well attended, but was still very well attended. And I thought, great, you've done 2. That's getting traction. You're still getting plenty of news in the media. That's good. Right, now hold. You've done what you've had to do, but no, they called the next one they called was 3 days after we got through to Bilbao. And there were 15, 20 people there. I mean, it was just crazy, just ridiculous. And all the good work, all the momentum you've built has been pulled down. Now, I think, Sean, you mentioned about getting people onto, getting people listed, getting on a database. People putting in the way
monetizing it and getting emailed, all that sort of thing. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But this isn't like, Lilywhite, this isn't so much about the strategic initiatives of what Change for Tottenham need to do. This is more around like what's happening on the Sunday thing. Let's not go over the history.
No, Sean? Hang on, still. But I think they've got to go. But I think 100% correct not to protest this weekend. Personally, because you've got to, if you're going to call a protest, it's got to have maximum impact. Otherwise, it's going to fall flat like the last 3 have, and you can't afford for the 4th one to fall flat. So it's got to be, the timing has got to be perfect, and it's and you've got to get people on board, and before you go and do another protest, you've got to get people on board, and for me, you've got to get a database up. You've got to get people wherever they're from, and if you've got thousands of people who are international fans, then you work it. Obviously, they're not going to be at a protest, but there are other ways that they can make their voice heard. And all of this has got to be put together and thought about carefully. It can't just be, you can't just say, let's have another protest. And then come back and say, well, we're now cancelling it. Because that you'd have been better off just saying nothing, weighing up everything, looking at all the different possibilities of how could this be derailed. Are we picking the right time? What's happening with the team? Look at the trend with the results. I personally, it's you mentioned Man United. Their fans are so much more engaged at United, at Everton. I'm looking at David's comments on tonight from Newcastle. All of them, they're more engaged than the Spurs fans. So we've got to try and think about a different way of getting across to ENIC. Because still, if people aren't going to protest, then you've got to find a different way.
Can I say? Sean, did you want to say something? Because there's something I want to say.
Oh yeah, I'll give my take real quick, Stel. I'll give my take real quick. Like, listen, I personally think that Change for Tottenham have made the right decision. I do. I think it's a tough decision, Connor. I understand you, Billy, and that. I think you guys are smart people. And I met Hayden. I don't know many of the other people involved, right? Hayden seems very, very intelligent guy as well. I know you guys are probably umming and ahhing on how to do this, right? Because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I totally get it. I think it clearly has proven difficult to corral people into protesting regardless, right? We've chewed over thousands of times why that is. Why is it that 80% of people in the online space want ENIC out, but yet, 0.8% of people that go to the games want to turn up and stand one side of the road for 10 minutes or walk down the street for 5 minutes together? That's proven to be a problem time and time again. I don't think that it's a case of like being influenced, as Stel would say. Stel, I respect your take on it, man. I'm not saying that you're wrong. It's just like me personally, I think that you have to listen to the environment. You have to listen to the kind of the noise, what's going on. Now, I don't know how influential ROTS, whatever it is how many people are going to listen to him. I don't know how many people are going to listen to the Spurs song sheet. I know they have a lot of followers, right? But for example, I have a lot of people that subscribe to Spurs Talk Show. If I said for the last protest, come to the protest, not many people turned up, right? So online followers doesn't equal necessarily action. It will be interesting to see what happens. Where I do sort of lean with Connor is that I do think if you've got a fringe group on the side with a handful of hardcore people that want to sing ENIC out and it's getting drowned out by people singing more positive songs, I think that does look bad. And I think you are caught between a rock and a hard place, Connor. So I can understand where you're coming from. I think on this one, you're probably right to just sort of to get behind the whole movement. I don't think that dilutes necessarily what Change for Tottenham represents. This is the thing. The question I had for Connor quickly was, when have you articulated via Twitter? I haven't followed or seen the announcements. Have you explained that the protest isn't going ahead and you're doing something else instead? You're getting behind the other thing instead? And if so, what were the comments and the feedback from the people that followed Change for Tottenham on Twitter? Were they supportive of the direction, or were they more in line with how Stell feels, which is, flaky?
Yeah, look, I think we put out a statement which we tried to word it in such a way that made very, very clear that we're making this decision in spite of our own views on the ownership, and not in spite of, because we are partly self-preserving, to Stell's point. I think I think that's fair, and Stell can call that weak. I would personally call it strategic, but because I think, what's the point in killing
Or
the movement
sensible.
completely by having another, having another dead protest. So I tried to be clear, if anyone's read the statement, that and for those saying that it's not clear that we're critical of the ownership or whatever, I think if you read the statement, it is clear, because throughout it we say it's in spite of the board, shambolic ownership, etc., and that time for action against them is still firmly on the agenda. In terms of the response, it's been mixed, and I think, to be honest, that's a learning for Change for Tottenham, in that clearly, whatever your view is, and to Stell's point, if there are people that of course have booked travel or whatever, that's unfortunate, and I'm sad that that's the case, and that's why we need to be more strategic about making sure you announce these, and when you announce them, you've got plenty of planning, you've got plenty of warning, but at the same time, it's not going to be put in a situation whereby it could potentially be cancelled. So, I don't know, to give an example, let's say by some miracle we win the next 4 games and we know we're definitely safe. I would be suggesting to Change for Tottenham that we announce a protest for the Everton game, knowing full well that we're safe by that point, and you would hope that would be one of the biggest that we've had to date. But yeah, the feedback was mixed. I think a lot of people understood, like Johnny and Lubo here, and you, Sean, but there were people that had Stell's view as well, that that this was the wrong thing to do.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, look, I can say, but for me, I think you guys are in a rock and a hard place, and you're taking on a monumental challenge, right? Because it's proven to be a struggle for the people that Stell used to protest with. I don't know who those people were, who were the organisers of it, Ryan Isaacs or Brian Daigle or whoever the other people were, Stell, I don't know. But those guys struggled to corral numbers for one reason or another. And Change for Tottenham have struggled, despite having, when Billy T puts the tweet out, it's insane, right? The guy's got monumental reach, but yet it doesn't translate into real-time stuff in terms of protest numbers. So I think it's a difficult square to circle regardless. And given the weight of people that are moving in the other direction, I do think it will be foolhardy still. But that's just my take, mate. Like I say, no right or wrong answer. What did you want to say still? Sorry.
Yeah, no. Yeah, look, it's all opinions. I mentioned on our show, I think it was a couple of weeks back, maybe a month ago, that our fan base simply just doesn't have what it takes. It simply doesn't have what is needed to bring about change. When you look at other fan bases like the Newcastle lot, there's a Sheffield Wednesday fan that was replying to Change for Tottenham's messaging. I'll show you, but he was basically disagreeing with what Change for Tottenham were doing and saying, look, you're getting this all wrong. This is what we did to get our owner out. So everyone's got their say on it. I am of the firm.
Can you put it back on screen? I never got a chance to read it. Sorry.
So this is Daz. He's a Sheffield Wednesday fan. He used to say that our fans used to make excuses as well about, just get behind the team. And he said, if you have too much empathy like Wednesday did, then you're just going to walk into trouble. I'm a Wednesday fan. Quit the excuses and fight for your club. He then said, when the cameras are turned off and Sky Sports are on holiday, you have to do these things during the games. Which is kind of what I was saying. Do it now. Wasn't
Chanziri forced to sell his club because of his financial problems?
Yeah, he was.
So it wasn't so much about fan protests. It was more because of legal execution, right?
Because he was a dirty rat. Allegedly.
I'm just putting up what he put. There was a Newcastle fan earlier. The overall point I want to make is I don't believe our look, the Sheffield Wednesday fans, they put up the fight though. That's the point. They really put up the fight. I don't believe our fans are ever going to put up the fight. I've come to the conclusion they are never ever going to do it. Because if you can't do it now after a season like this and last year, it's never going to happen. And I don't even think relegation. I think if we get relegated, there's going to be lots of apathy, which is no man's land. I don't think our influencers are ever going to pull their fingers out. They've pretty much signed up to media careers, and that's more important than actually taking action on the things that they're not happy with. And the groups that Connor mentioned that are going to be doing this parade, all those groups he mentioned, none of them are ever going to take action. So I basically came to the conclusion a short while back that the only way we can truly force change, and again, relegation is the most unpopular way of doing it, okay? I'm fighting that battle on my own, is it needs something completely new and something very unique that no other club has ever done. And I've been working on something and it looks like it's going to come together. So all I'm saying is, I'm not going to be leading it, by the way, because I know I can't lead it because it will put off.
You're not hiring a Goodyear blimp, are you?
Yeah, we're getting Sadiq Khan. Sadiq Khan's going to run it for us. We're going to get a.
What do you call me, Johnny? What do you fucking call me?
We're going to get a blimp of Vinay.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Enoch out, and then a guy in a Vinay costume is going to parachute out during the game onto the.
Yeah,
pitch.
we're going to get the rabbi out on his megaphone on the high street again.
Oh,
look,
God, the rabbi.
This is going to be a serious group of people that it's not just like me and the Enoch outlet. It wasn't a mates club, it was matey. I think the change for Tottenham, not a matey. I think the Spurs Supporters Trust, the people that run it, they're all cut from a similar cloth. It needs a diverse group that can pull in everyone. Just watch this space, and I'll leave it there because I do actually take on board everything you've said, and I think. If I take a bit of Sean, a bit of Johnny, a bit of Connor, a bit of me, and then that was to be kind of what Luba was saying, I guess. That's what I think is needed. And just let's see.
Do you think Albania Assassins is maybe a bit too far?
We're gonna. You like trying to make it light-hearted, but he's doing his initial.
We're gonna. Listen. It's all fun and games as well. We're gonna carpet bomb the high street. There you go. How's that?
No, listen. Look, at the end of the day,
I've been seriously thinking about this for a while. And
a lot
of what Sean said actually is things that hopefully all comes to fruition.
Look, what I would say to you is there is just an apathy in life in general. You know, I meet people all the time. The easiest thing in life is to talk a good game, and just not get up off your arse and do something about it. It's the vast majority of people, and I'm not like that. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, and I can only do the best version of myself, whatever I do. But the vast majority of people, it's easy to say, "Oh yeah, I'm behind you all the way."
You know what would be fantastic? If one of you lot could start an organization that did actually monetize, right? And we were talking about doing like, I don't know, airplane flyovers or banners and all that sort of thing. But just go and do go and get 10 grand of your subscription money and go and do a £10,000 AdWords campaign that is incredibly targeted to everyone who watches just one channel and one channel alone, Spurs Official. Right, so every time someone dials in to watch a Spurs Official YouTube video, like the preview ad, the true view ad that you get beforehand is Enoch out. It would be fucking brilliant. It'd be the most targeted campaign in the world.
It would be like
that
the
money
best
would
thing
go
to
so
do.
far as well.
Yeah, the best thing to do would be like, I don't know if you've ever seen one of the Democrat and Republican campaigns, right? That how heavy they go in. Vinay came here from Arsenal supporter, like going in really heavy, like they do, absolutely slaughter the person, right? And but you'd never get away with some of that stuff. It's not going to get broadcast anywhere. But
Johnny, this is going to have a proper plan. It's going to have a proper, clear message. It's going to stick to the plan, and this is going to include people that are very smart at what they do. Because that's the only way it's going to work, because we are not experts at this stuff.
How many
We know a bit,
percentage? No.
about
It's
things,
true.
but
I'm a
not-
marketing expert.
not-
I kind of know that game.
What,
very
tell
well.
me
Marketing,
something.
Sean,
What do we
but
believe?
a grassroots movement, growing something that can actually impact.
No, I hear
None
you.
of
I
us
hear
are.
you, I hear you.
What
None
do
of
we
us are.
actually believe is the true percentage of people in the fan base who want ENIC out? I think it's a very, very high number.
Online it is.
It is. It is a
very
it is a
high.
number.
The percentage of people willing to get up off their arse and do anything or something about it in reality is probably
See, this is where I
1%.
find
Johnny, that's
I
why it
agree
has
with
to
you,
be
Johnny,
done.
but the squaring
This
of
is
that
why it has to
circle
be
is-
done differently. It needs
It's
a
not the
different
same.
way.
It's not the same as saying, like,
needs-
you go on Twitter right now, and half the people have got a problem with Islam, half the people have got a problem with Judaism, half the people have got a problem with immigration, whatever, right? Whatever your algorithm is showing you, it's just hate.
No, on that,
Everyone's
yeah.
like, pro Tommy Robinson, whatever, right? But the idea of getting on your train from Sussex or Surrey or Manchester or wherever else and coming down to London for a protest where you have to go out of your way for a specific protest, not a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people still go to those things, but in the like as a grand sweeping gesture of the overall population, it's still relatively small. But where I struggle to square the circle is none of the protests outside the stadium have been on non-match days. So you're asking people who feel a certain way who go to the game. You're not asking them to do anything that they wouldn't otherwise do, apart from just stand on this side of the road rather than that side of the road, or rather than buying a beer in that pub, buy a beer outside that pub, you know, or whatever. And yet the numbers
Sean, that's
still
what we're
don't
dealing with as
translate.
well,
It's just
right?
weird to me about that.
But you know what
That's
else
what we're
happens?
trying to deal with, and we're trying to, we're trying to engage that. And look, still, I hope whatever movement that you're looking at, as I said to you on WhatsApp, you know, I will always support any movement that's against this ownership, because I think they're parasites, and I think it's you know, until
You've got the
they
Greens
move,
on board, haven't you? Stel, you got the Greens on board?
Just to make it very clear, this is not my movement. I'm just doing my bit.
the movement you're involved in, yeah.
I'm doing my bit to help what I think is the only way to get as many fans as possible engaged in the form of action.
Do you know what I'm surprised about?
If it was
Stel?
down to me,
I think Stel wants to be like the Rothschilds in this particular movement. I think he wants to be one step behind. Like, he doesn't want to be the politician. He wants to be the guy behind the scenes who controls. He's the puppeteer. He controls everyone. Who's the main.
Listen, Sean. One thing, Sean. The thing is, the thing is, and I've had to accept this reluctantly. I appeal to a certain section of the fan base, and that is it. That is it. You appeal to a certain section of the fan base, and probably that is it. Lubo, Connor, we all have our pool. You need to get everyone into one room, and they have to do it as one.
It's different strokes for different folks. It's always been that way. But you know, I get messages from people who are not on social media still.
They're all the same.
Stel, I get messages. Right.
ENIC out, we were all the same.
Stel, I get messages from people who I know who are not on social media, hate social media, and they go to me, how's that ENIC? How are those owners still on board? They've screwed up the club, they've done this, they've done that. And I say to them, well, there's a demonstration coming up. What do you mean the demonstration? Oh, it's a demonstration. I'm not going to that. What are you talking about? That isn't going to do any good. That's not going to change anything. I said, well, what's the point of messaging me, right, about how you hate the owners have got to go? When I say to you something's going on and you can demonstrate, they've got absolutely no interest, straight into the ground 10 minutes before the game kicks off. And that's it. There's an apathy to that. I also think easier to moan about it.
I also think some people recognise that, like that guy Daz that you're talking about there, still in the tweet thing, like he might be taking credit for the Sheffield Wednesday fans standing up, but as far as I'm aware, that Managerial fella was hounded out for years and years and years and years, and he just went, "Fuck you! I'm not going anywhere," until his business collapsed, and then was forced out by an injunction. I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate, but I'm pretty sure it is. Same with the Newcastle United story. I know. Hang on, let me finish the point. I know Sniffer's in the house as well, but like Newcastle United fans protested against Mike Ashley. It took 15 years to get him out because he just wasn't going to sell before he got his price. So, like, I think some people are aware of that reality, that ultimately you can't force an owner to sell unless they want to. And so they're not going to
Sheffield
waste
Wednesday
their time.
fans boycotted the merchandise. They stopped buying all merch from the club.
But Mancheri only sold because he had to, because he was bankrupt. I'm pretty sure that's true. I might be wrong on that. I don't want to.
And fans not giving money to the club.
No. He was bankrupt. He was like, there was something else. I can't remember the specifics of it, but there was like, I'm sure he went to court. I'm sure there was like a whole thing about that.
Look, I hear this all the time, but that protest, but this one, and there's always a reason as to why it wasn't the protest, but it was everything else. With any protest, you know, oh, but the 10,000 Arsenal fans descended on the Emirates. Oh, it wasn't because of them. It's because the Cronkies decided to change their. There's always a reason why it wasn't the protest that forced any. It wasn't change for Tottenham that helped force Levy out. They had nothing. I hear it all the time. Look, protesting with us as a fan base now, I think is dead. Now I think it's dead, in my view. So it needs a completely different approach to everything.
When you say now, is that because is your view it's dead because of this specific decision, or did you think it was dead before this decision? Just out of interest.
No, I think this was the nail in the coffin, Connor. I don't think if you try and arrange a protest, if we go on a 3-4 winning gaming streak and you turn around to the fans and say, right, guys, we're safe, let's protest. People are like, hold on, I'm enjoying the football again. That's our fan base. I guarantee you, when we're winning, nobody protests. We've never protest when we're winning and it's been decent. All the protests that have been fairly successful is when we've been in complete turmoil and fans have broken. If we go on a 3-4 winning game streak, do you know what's going to happen? People are going to say, shit, maybe we should keep Mwani. He's just scored 2 goals. Maybe it was the managers that couldn't get the best out of Mwani, and suddenly Archie Gray, do you know what? He's turned out to be a cracking player. That's going to be the conversation, Connor, because our fan base, like Sean said earlier,
I think your argument is basically that it's dead regardless, then, isn't it, with this fan base, which is where you landed a second ago. But I think you're basically, you know, I think the problem is
no, it's dead now.
I think this fan base is never going to get behind protests in a big, meaningful way. I think Levy going has helped in terms of killing change for Tottenham's momentum last year as well, right? In terms of, because whatever your view is, a lot of that I didn't like Levy. I know Sean does. I don't think we need to get into another Levy debate. But whatever your view is, a lot of Tottenham fans, it was Levy out, not ENIC out, and you're seeing some of the revisionism in the fan base now around it. Whereas the message should always, you know, Levy going alone wasn't getting us our Tottenham back. We needed ENIC to go.
ENIC and
yeah.
By the way, Connor,
they are
do you know
one
what?
of the same.
I totally agree with you. There is one way you will get a massive protest. There is only one way you will get it, and it's going to be the way that you don't want it, but it will do it. If we get relegated at Stamford Bridge, you will see the mother of protests at the final game. But that is exactly how nobody wants it to happen. But you will get it then, 100%. Last game of the season, if we've been relegated at Stamford Bridge, you will get ridiculous numbers at that one. That I'm sure of.
Still, the only time
most fans, it's too late. Then it's too late.
The only time there are any protests in serious numbers is inside the ground. It's the only time. You know, fans
inside the ground. What do you mean?
Well, listen, you had Levy outs during the 3-0 defeat against Man United. What did he do?
He was singing a few songs. You mean?
Deflected off him, and he sacked Nuno. And
people sing songs, mate. People get caught up in the momentum.
Yeah, turn your back on the 25th minute. Everyone turns their back on the 25th minute. You know, on the TV game. You know, marking 25 years. You know, at least you got a captive audience. You know.
And I think they're, you know, to the points that you discussed earlier. Sorry, I know you've got to wrap up in a minute. I think there are other things that we as a group need to think about, and perhaps this is what Stell's group, the group that Stell is not leading, will be thinking about as well, right? Is that there's protesting outside on a match day is not the only way that you get a message across, right? And I think there are things that Lubo mentioned around monetizing. I think that, like you just said, Johnny, anything that is a visual display is helpful.
Correct.
I think.
I think honestly, if you want to draw attention, which Spurs channel online gets the most amount of views. Spurs official. Go and run an advertising campaign, a YouTube True View advertising campaign that you don't even pay, right? You know the skip ad thing, right? If you put £1,000 into the campaign, most people click the skip ads button as soon as you can, right? The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then you skip. If you get the brand out in the first 5 seconds and you specifically target Spurs official videos, which is very easy, super easy to set up, you don't pay if someone doesn't watch 30 seconds. So your money, you could put £100 in there, and if everyone presses skip before 30 seconds, you're still going to get your message across in front of the video that they're going there to watch. I don't know why you guys haven't thought of that before, or anyone's thought of that
yeah,
before.
I mean, funding's important though, Sean, isn't it? I mean,
of course, you got to get funding first.
Yeah. And look, I think
I know who will give some money. Daniel Levy.
Yeah. And not, you know, like the 1958 group. I mean, even things like printing flyers so that fans that are not on social media can get behind it, right? You know, I think that 1958 group at for Man United printed like something like, you know, tens of thousands of flyers to try to advertise to get to those fans that are not on social media. Because unfortunately, as much as we love to think it, not everyone watches us.
It's a disgrace. Smash like, subscribe, and share. Smash like, subscribe, and share. Let me do a couple of super chats, guys. Any final thoughts before we wrap up, guys? Anyone that hasn't said what they want to say?
Yeah, I just want us to win. Look, all said and done.
Oh, we've got to do predictions as well before.
Yeah, no, but all said and done, guys, right? I stand by the fact that all I want to see is my football team win. I want to see us stay in the Premier League, and I want to have happier days, you know. And would I be happy and delighted if these owners left? 100%. Why can't I have both? Why can't I have both? You know? And that's all I want.
I just want there to be something, maybe what Stell's mentioned, to grab everybody's attention, because for me, you know how I feel. There have been so many things that have gone wrong that have damaged our football club, and nothing's happened. The people just don't get on board. It's like Harry Kane's gone. There's no ambition. Why did Kane go? You know, world-class player. He left because there was no ambition with the board. People just let it go. They just ignored it. It was, you know.
Lubo, the problem is when you can only get 50% of the population go out and vote in a general election for who's going to make decisions for the next 4 years.
If you're lucky, 50%. Yeah, if you're lucky.
Like this is.
I know.
So we're not going to solve it anymore tonight, guys. Let's do some super chats. Craig Fenner says, "Where's Sarah? I got to look at you, Five." Yeah, Sarah came on last week. She was great. I'm sure she'll be on again in the future.
Sean, there's a new AI idea for you.
Yeah. He was going to do the show as Marilyn Monroe, were you not?
Yeah, I can show you Marilyn if you want.
No, just get a wig with some black hair and just come and say, "I've got an email campaign I'm doing. Sign up to my campaign. We're gonna." You know,
it doesn't quite work with me. I tried to do Johnny's face, and Johnny's got a much thinner face than I have. And when I put Johnny's face on mine, he looked like
I look like I'd swallowed 2 hamsters. Well, put on do Marilyn. Marilyn, go on.
Okay, all right.
Let's have a look. If we wanted to see this one,
it's absolutely fucking shocking.
Fuck me. Three pints.
Oh, we did it! 3 pints. What?
You like what's her name off of The Only Way Is Essex? What's her name?
Gemma Collins.
Gemma Collins.
Looks like Brennan Johnson.
Oh, no, you don't know. You don't know. Yeah.
You're a female Brennan Johnson.
I look like a guy who's standing around on a Soho corner at 3 a.m., which I might be there on Wednesday night. Big up to you, Craig. Thank you very much for the super chat. NSG says the change for Tottenham I want is to turn 30 points to 40 and Enoch out. Personally think that's the name of the group. Change for Tottenham is just misleading. We've spoken about that. Big up to you to NSG. Thank you very much, my man. In Denmark, big up to you, buddy. Luca 14. Why has Change for Tottenham never called for targeted boycotts? Connor?
I mean, this is one we've discussed at length before. I mean, Stel, you were a season ticket holder, or are a season ticket holder. I am.
What's that mean?
my
Don't
view
buy
on-
the club bed.
Well, my view on this one has always been that I shouldn't have to give up my season ticket because I'm not happy with the current owners and put myself at jeopardy of never getting one again. You know, because if they leave tomorrow, I would be happy and I want my season ticket, right? I don't think I should.
Correct.
I want them to leave. I don't. Yeah, exactly.
The levels of sacrifice required. So we're not Martin Luther Kings here, you know. We're not.
I had a dream.
Yeah. We're not the girl who sat on the back of the bus. You know, all we are is just people that stand on one side of the road for 5 minutes.
Don't buy the club bed. Don't buy the club hair extension company or the implant company. Don't use any of the companies. You know,
I might actually use Tottenham. You know what? I don't want Tottenham's hair.
Mate,
hair
you don't want the
therapy.
grass, mate.
I don't want them from them, mate. They're going to fail, aren't they? Like the hairline would fail.
If it's
just
anything
like
the grass, mate, you'll have a synthetic weave.
I'd probably get a head injury. Because of the artificial turf underneath. What are we doing here?
Sorry, Mr. Butler. I drilled through your cavity in your brain.
Big up to Phil Coys. Says, what are the plans for this meet, Connor? Well, I think it's. Do you know what the plans are? What time it is for Sunday?
No, I believe more's being announced tomorrow. As I say, I'm not actually directly involved with this specific meet, so I couldn't say. But I think,
bring your flares.
Probably outside the south stand, right? Where the bus goes in is outside.
All I know is for all of the fans that are saying, you know, that no bus arrives for home games. Obviously, that's been thought about and that's been specifically arranged, I believe.
Yeah, and if you're going to bring your flares, personally, I don't know where my flares are, but I'm sure you can find a pair on eBay.
Yeah, you can.
I knew he was going to make a really stupid joke. I could just see it in his face. He's just going to make some freaking
dad jokes. Johnny's the king of dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
Rage Meister, big up. She says, change for Tottenham need to address apathetic middle class fans. I don't know how you win them over, mate. If we spent a long time talking about it. Big up to you, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Big up to you.
You can be apathetic. Hang on a minute. You can be apathetic, low, middle, or upper, mate. Apathetic is just apathetic. It doesn't have a class.
Yeah. Well. All right, guys. Last question before we round off. Big up to everyone, by the way. Please do smash the like, smash subscribe. Get over to follow everyone and to subscribe to everybody. Quick score prediction before the game on Wednesday. And that doesn't count for the prediction. Oh, by the way, Stella, am I still top of the table, mate?
I've actually updated everything. Let's check. I'll get it. I'll do your predictions and then I'll. By the way, you know, there's no points for the Champions League. We don't.
No, I know. Yeah. Just have a little chin wag.
I'll get it out of the way. I'm going 2-1 Spurs.
So a victory on the night, but not enough to get us through. Fair enough. Lubon?
2-2.
Desmond. Connor?
1-1.
You guys know Jan Oblak's injured?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a bonus, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they've got a guy called Musa. He must have a bad night if we're going to get through.
Mendoza, I think, and Barrios are missing as well.
Yeah. Stelios?
3-1 Atletico.
I'm going to go.
I think we're going to win it. I don't know why.
I'm going 3-1 Tottenham. Not quite enough.
I nearly went 3-1 Tottenham.
6-5. 6-5. No, sorry, 6-4 on aggregate. No, that will be.
I don't think they're any good. I really don't.
6-5 on aggregate. Yeah, 6-5 on aggregate. I think we can get.
If Liverpool had the front line of Atletico, it would have been 4-0 at half time. They've got killers up front.
It could easily be if Tottenham have got to play the way they played in the second half against Liverpool. So they're going to leave everyone up the field. Right, they're going to rely on a lot of things. Obviously, with that comes the risk of being transitioned on. So it could easily be 3-0 to Atletico Madrid. But if we get an early goal, if we go 1-0 up inside 20 minutes, it's game fucking on. If we get a second goal before half time, it is the best second half of football to come. I'll be so excited. Butler's got a 4-point lead. He's been up front. He's been top of the league since game week 1, and he still sits up there right now. I don't know what you want from me. I don't know what you want. This is what we do here. This is what we do. Are you guys still confident you're going to catch me?
Yeah, by the end of the season, someone will catch you. They have to. We can't have you winning.
Still,
I mean, that's worse. That's worse than Arsenal winning the league. Listening to you.
Still, can you put that total up again? So you got 34, 40. So you got 55 points, and we've had 30 games, which is 90 points. So you've got 55 out of 360. So don't follow us if you're putting money on a bet for football.
Well, if you're going to follow anyone, though, follow Butler, right?
No, just listen. Some people just
don't listen to Johnny. I mean, Johnny, how are you on 8 points, man?
Mate, listen.
He backs his team, and his team has let him down. That's why
I back my team. And there lies the problem, right? Yeah,
I learned my lesson before any of you. Stop backing the team.
Stop supporting your club.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question, because we never got to speak about it? Just like we could just
how quick are we talking?
After the Liverpool game that everyone's now decided that we're back and everything's great, do you bring back Van der Ven and Romero? Do you bring back Van der Ven and Romero, or are they now toxic to this fight back?
I think Mickey Van der Ven is toxic. I'd bring back Cuti Romero if he was fit, but yeah, Mickey Van der Ven, I said this before. Mickey Van der Ven coming over and wanting to have a fight down at Brentford, having some of the bad body language he's had, saying he doesn't like the club anymore, can't even look at his phone. Him gobbing on the floor in front of the ball boys after he got sent off and going straight down the tunnel, not even looking at the bench or the fans or putting his hand up. Nah, I don't care. He can go. He can go. I don't care anymore. Yeah, I liked him, but I don't care anymore about him.
So can I just get this right? You would not play Van der Ven against Nottingham Forest then, Johnny? Is that where you're? Is that?
No, I mean, like if he said that was the reason, why he's not playing him because he's not on ball, then I would back it. If he's going to sit there and he's going to play, he's gone at the end of the season. If he's going to come in and play, of course I'd play him because we need his pace, right? But if I see any more half-hearted performances again, I mean, he looked like, I don't know what anyone else thought, but to me, it looked like he tried to get sent off against Atletico Madrid. He had a face like thunder, like he was completely fucked off. Exactly the same as what he was against Palace. Look, we all know that he should never have got sent off at Palace. It was pathetic. You could have let the guy score. I mean, what was he trying to do? He came out, I'm telling you, I don't care what anyone says, he came out of that Palace dressing room, out that tunnel in a fucked off mood.
But you know what, Johnny? What's he missed? He's missed the Liverpool game. We got a good point. So it didn't hurt us. We wouldn't have won the game with Van der Ven.
We played without him last year.
That's right. Whoever the rat is, don't want to. Whoever it is, if Tudor knows who it is, he shouldn't play another game for this club this season.
Who came out with this? In fact, hold on. I'm asking questions here. Connor, Sean, what about you guys?
I'd bring them both back. Look, I know we got a good result about Liverpool, but correlation doesn't equal causation, or whatever way around that is always, just because they were missing. I think it was, I think there was the other things at play there. I would bring them. I mean, he's going to play three at the back anyway, so he's going to bring them. Dragishing for me is just not even a footballer. He's dreadful on the ball. He's so bad. So you've got to bring Romero and Van der Ven back if he's going to play three at the back. Definitely with Danso. I think even if he goes four at the back, given we have only a 17-year-old Brazilian who's left-footed as a left back, maybe Udogie might be back, but I'll put Van der Ven at left back and play Romero and Danso.
Did you think he was that bad? He's 19, but did you not think I mean,
no, I thought he was all right. I thought he was all right. I thought he was all right against Liverpool, but this is such a crucial game, against Forest. I think you need the experience.
Sure.
With regards Atletico Madrid, I would.
No, the Forest game. I'm talking about the Forest game. Would you bring back
the Forest game
Romero?
specifically? What would I do with regards to Romero and Van der Ven? It's such a difficult one because on the one hand, I think if it's true, and obviously the club will know, Tudor will know, we won't know. But if it's true, as that podcast said today, that Mickey van der Ven is walking around the training ground saying, "I don't care if we go down. My manager or my agent is talking to Barcelona." Then fuck him, absolutely fuck him. And get 80, 90, 100 million quid for him because I genuinely don't think he's as good as he thinks he is. I think he's very good in the high line. I think he's been exposed time and time again in a low block. 100%. I think he's overrated. And his personality obviously clearly is problematic. I think Kevin Danso and Romero could do a job together. So I would, if I'm going to drop one of them, I'd drop Van der Ven right now, if that's true. But who the fuck knows if it's true or not? Because there was no evidence to support it. This guy, I forget the name of the podcast. A View from the Lane. I think it was a View from the Lane.
No, Rule the Roost. I think it
Rule
was,
the Roost.
wasn't it?
Rule the Roost podcast.
Yeah.
Is that a busy podcast? I don't know the podcast.
Yeah. I've been on there before. To be fair.
Well, there you go, then, mate. Absolute full of shit, then, isn't he? Absolute waffle. That's terrible guests. Listen,
He's a good guy, Jack. He's a good guy.
Jack, is it? If he knows people or whatever, if he's got some source for him to say that with confidence, then it doesn't. It's sort of in line with what we've seen. And if that's the case, then fuck Mickey van der Ven. It wouldn't surprise me. And if that's the case, then fuck him. Fuck him. I'd rather have players on the pitch that fight for the badge than players on the pitch that fight for themselves and don't give a shit. And I genuinely don't think he's looked into. I think his positional sense in the back three is horrendous. I don't think he understands how to play the left side of a back three. I think his performance has recently been absolutely dreadful. He almost got sent off the other day unnecessarily. He got sent off the other day unnecessarily. So yeah, fuck it, send him to the bench. Get Danso. I think the problem with Danso is that I think he's so much more comfortable on the right than the left, and I think that you probably, but he does play on the left hand side of a back four for Austria, so it's not like he can't do it. I would go Romero, Danso, and go from there. Or option B, put Mickey van der Ven at left back and let him see if he wants to maraud up front, up the line where there's less risk involved. He can't do that much damage as a left back, so. I don't know. But listen, we'll round it off there. I think there's a couple more super chats that have snuck in the backdoor Lubode. This isn't a super chat. This is David R saying, as a Toon fan, I don't know why this is starred. Still saying this. He thinks it's a massive mistake to cancel the protest. Fair enough, David. You had your biggest and most impactful protest during our relegation games. But as I say, David, with all due respect, mate, as much as you protest all the time about Ashley, he only left when he got his money. It took you guys 15 years to get rid of them. Yeah, I know it makes you guys feel better, but I've always maintained that protests, they might have an impact indirectly, but directly, I don't think there's any evidence.
But that's because the FA blocked.
No. Mike Ashley didn't go anywhere for a long time.
They blocked the buyer saying he didn't meet the criteria.
Yeah, but that was only in the last couple of years. Ashley.
Yeah, but they blocked. He
Sorry, we're talking over each other. Go on.
Anyway. Yeah. But it's just going to go back and forth.
Okay.
By the way, I just want to say before we end, there's no personal issues between Connor and I, Ability, none of that. I chat to them. They're in my WhatsApp group. It's all opinions on football. Outside of Tottenham conversation, mate, they're top boys. You can have a drink with them on a match day, have a good laugh. It's normal. So, because I know some people get a bit caught up in this stuff and create dramas unnecessarily.
Yeah,
so I just wanted
it's all for show. I mean, listen, I'm not being funny. Stel and Vinay are great mates outside of the Spurs Five and the Tottenham business. And I'm sure if you saw Daniel, you'd join him for a lager or two still.
Yeah. I mean, Lubo often gets me into the corporate section of Tottenham where he knows everyone there and gets to me. Connor Cullen, Daniel Levy,
Collicott's the one. Collicott's the one. How has Collicott survived all this? I don't know.
Not only survived, but retaken back the reins of control, Johnny.
Unbelievable. He must have hidden under the desk when they came in. I don't
know. He's definitely got pictures of Levy and Donna Cullen and probably Lewis. At least one of the kids. Something's going on. That guy's got a little bit too much sway. Do
you know why he survived? He survived because nothing's gonna fucking change, guys. Nothing. Mark my words. Nothing.
Hotspurs finishes up with Sean. Could you have a word with Brooklyn Connor? He wants Enoch out as well.
Have a word with Brooklyn for me.
Yeah.
Your mate, your DJ, mate.
Have a word.
Listen, I've messaged him. He ain't messaged me back for a while, so So no, so maybe he's had a word from his legal team.
He's in Japan at the moment.
He's gone. Oh yeah, listen. There's a guy called Sean from Spurs Talk Show. Can you look into? And they've gone. You guys, Brooklyn. He's a drunk, absolute fat asshole who. I think he's probably someone that you should avoid. He goes on a Marilyn Monroe faces on that Spurs Five. So, I don't know. Well, I'm waiting to hear back. Big up to you, Hotspur. Thank you very much indeed. Big up to everyone for coming on. And we will see you all on Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm sure the other guys, and me and Johnny will be back on footballing because I like to subscribe. Please get over to the whistle blows. Connor, you back doing the whistle blows now?
Yeah. We got a show tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. So
big up. And Stelios, when's your next show, mate?
I'm gonna do a watch along for the Atletico game, I think.
Okay. All right, guys. Love you all. Appreciate everyone. Take care. And as always, come on,
you Spurs.